All right.
Oh, man.
Welcome.
We got a guest.
Welcome to another Friday edition of Backcountry BSing. We got a special guest in studio, Scott from Endeavor Brewing, Brewery and Spirits. Endeavor Brewing and Spirits.
Brewing and Spirits, yeah.
Has joined us.
And we have a strong history with Scott.
Yes. Before we get into Scott, I gotta give my announcements.
Yes.
Remember to rate us on the iTunes
There's
store.
only one person watching right now.
It's because it just started.
Yeah,
I'm going to send you this link. Remember to go over there and just rate us on the iTunes store. And then the other thing to note is I kind of talked about it last week, but we are in like a month or so, we are moving the entire podcast to its own YouTube channel. So there's a link. I don't think I put a link on this video. I'm texting you the link to this live stream right now, Scott. That's what I'm doing. But go check out the Backcountry BSing YouTube channel.
Yeah, it needs some love. We need him also.
We have like 36 subs, and there's thousands of you all that watch this. So go subscribe. There's a link in our link tree on Instagram.
Yeah.
I probably should have put a link in this video, but I forgot. So there's a link in the Meldrum video, but go subscribe.
Right.
Okay. iTunes store, rate us.
Yeah.
Go subscribe to Backcountry BSing.
Actually, I was reading through the ratings on iTunes. I appreciate the love.
Yeah,
a lot of love.
and every time I say go rate us on the iTunes store, people go rate us. So I'm not gonna shut up about it. All right, we got that out of the way. So I went back. You were the 6th episode guest on Backcountry BSing, and do you remember how shitty the audio was?
I don't recall specifically,
but it was a true BSing in the fact that we were in a brewery.
Yeah, we were in an active brewery with a fermentation tank bubbling behind us, right?
It looked so cool, but the audio was like this is so much better.
Sure.
You feel like you're like in each other's heads. I don't know, it's very weird. But you were guest number 6.
Yeah.
I want to, before we get into like hardcore stuff, I do want you to go through. You have a very impressive. Well, I guess first let's pour our drinks. We haven't done that.
Yeah.
So okay, why don't you tell everybody what we're drinking here?
So I brought with me a couple of things tonight. One is our Baby Shoe Bourbon. The other is our Baby Shoe Malt Whiskey. These are not available for sale or purchase yet.
Yes.
We're awaiting label approval.
So is this like a bootlegging operation we're doing
no,
right here?
this is simply the product that's pretty much ready to go, and we're just waiting on the ability to be able to sell it legally.
Okay.
So we're just sampling some of the samples that we have available. Yeah,
we're sampling.
Of course.
Where does the Baby Shoe come from?
Yeah, what is that?
So super fun story. It actually tells you a bit about the history right here on the side of the bottle.
Okay.
But my mother-in-law was going through some of her old family items and came across some of her father's baby shoes. And she noticed that there was a piece of paper tucked up inside of the toe. And she pulled it out. It was a piece of paper torn in half. And the other shoe had the other half, which was a whiskey recipe.
What?
Oh.
From Prohibition, hidden away from her bootlegging grandfather.
Really?
Wow.
Correct. So that was sort of the inspiration while designing these whiskeys. So we titled them Baby Shoe Whiskeys. So Baby Shoe Bourbon and Baby Shoe Malt Whiskey.
That's got to be the coolest bourbons and whiskey story
And we
I've
should
heard.
say, if you're in the Columbus area,
you need to
go to Endeavor. You can drink Scott's stuff there.
Yeah.
And I was actually obviously we went there prior to this. We had first time drinking in a bar in probably an entire year.
And it was very
I felt very safe.
very clean.
Yeah. I felt very safe. I felt, and there were people there.
Yeah, we're getting people out again.
Yeah.
You know, people are starting to come out. Vaccines safer.
But I felt pretty safe, and it was very nice to it was nice to just sit down at a bar and have a beer.
Yep.
You know, the little things like, all right, let's what are we trying first here?
Oh man, I don't know. Scott, take us on an adventure.
Let's start with the malt. That is a little softer. So
this is the bourbon.
This is the malt whiskey.
This is the malt whiskey.
Can you explain?
Yeah, malt means that it was made with 100% malted barley.
Okay.
This was made with mostly Scottish floor malt from Speyside that we imported from Scotland. We used a Scottish-style yeast. We used a little bit of Belgian Special B that had some caramel sweetness to it. And we've aged it with new charred American oak.
How did you get into... Okay,
Is this
you're
Scotch?
a beer guy.
Is this like Scotch?
Kind of, but you don't get peat.
Okay, good.
smokiness.
So it doesn't taste like dirt.
No.
Oh, and by the way, for everybody listening, this is going to be one of those podcasts.
We haven't done one of these in a while where we drink
A lot.
Not a lot. I mean,
No,
we're gonna be
yeah,
good,
yeah.
but hey, whatever you're drinking, pour yourself a glass. It doesn't have to be alcoholic.
It smells.
Oh, that's smooth. That's very smooth. You're gonna like that. I guarantee it.
Oh,
That's very
Scott.
smooth. Why is it so smooth?
Yeah.
What makes it
Why is
smooth?
that smooth?
So that's several different factors. One is a clean fermentation because we're a brewery and our brewmaster Cameron really understands fermentation. He has his master's in brewing from Germany. We can work with the ingredients. For distillery, we have above average equipment because we're a brewery with above average brewing equipment.
Yeah.
So we have a clean fermentation to start
Really
with.
good.
That's delicious.
Secondarily, we're using a nice still with good knowledge of that as well. And so we can kind of eliminate a lot of the bad, harsher components and
very
make
smooth.
it nice, smooth, easy drinking, but still complex.
And that's 90 proof too.
I know that's
45%.
Yeah, 45. Yeah, I mean, like that's.
how close to the shoe recipe is this?
Not very, in all honesty.
The shoe
What's
just
the
like
shoe recipe shit?
The bootleg whiskey made in German Village during Prohibition is not 100% Scottish barley. So
Wow, that's really
good.
That's really good. And we we're still like kind of whiskey noobs, so we don't venture outside of the bourbon range too often. Of
course,
but
yeah.
It's really
that's
good.
really
And I love these glasses.
Yep.
Are sick with the mountains in there.
and the best is there's Bigfoot and Nessie on the glass.
Yeah, and Scott is a fellow Bigfoot aficionado, so he was hyped about having Meldrum on.
yeah, I'm all about the Sasquatchoidal species. There's a lot of all of the multiple Sasquatchoids. Sasquai is the plural, of course, and love all of them.
I asked him. I was like, "What are we supposed to call it?" And he was like, he's like, "You can't call it Bigfoot now because you just get laughed at." He's like, "I pioneered the term Sasquatch, but you can't even call it Sasquatch."
Well, in
now."
his book, it's Sasquatch.
But he's now calling it a relict hominid. Hominid.
Hominid. Yeah.
Hominid. Also, I should say, because we're getting a decent amount of people here, if you have any questions for Scott, we haven't even gotten to his very impressive outdoor resume, which is how we got hooked up with him in the first place. But if you have any questions about brewing beer or distilling spirits or anything like that, drop them in the chat. We will. Andy's got the laptop. We will be monitoring.
I'll
monitoring
try.
stuff.
It depends on how deep we get into these whiskeys.
This is really good.
Thank you.
I guess I'm pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting.
I like whiskey.
I love whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that much different than bourbon.
No,
No, this is big.
and all bourbons are whiskeys.
Right.
Not all whiskeys are bourbons.
That's right.
I think it's interesting to note that. How do I want to say this? Corn. So there are 4 primary grains that are often used in whiskey production: barley, rye, wheat, and corn. Bourbon is defined by whiskey that's made with over 51% corn in it. Corn is lovely when used as an accent, but it also produces a lot more of fusel alcohols and kind of rubbing alcohols, harsher components.
Like the gross taste.
Yeah, kind of the bad stuff going on. So the real reason why bourbon became the great American spirit is after Prohibition, corn was a third of the price of rye. And rye was the original great American whiskey pre-Prohibition.
Really?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
And malt whiskey is always defined: Scottish whiskey, Japanese whiskey, other whiskeys around the world. So bourbon really shines in that cheaper bottle, so to speak. Like, give me Makers on Ice, I'll drink that all day long.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
But the really expensive whiskeys would have probably been a better whiskey had they not used that much corn.
So I'm assuming you don't use that much corn here.
So we use in our bourbon 75% corn.
Okay.
But the really high-end ones, you often find are right down, pushing that 51%.
Oh, okay.
Largely for that reason. And it
Okay.
probably still would have been a better whiskey had you had more malt or more rye in it.
Do you think Do you think this bourbon boom is just like a fad?
You know, I think that bourbon is the IPA equivalent.
Right. I was just gonna. I didn't want to say that because because you make IPA, you make wonderful IPAs.
This is really good.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with bourbon. Bourbon's fantastic. IPAs are fantastic too. The problem, I think, is when you're too closed-minded to experiment with something else.
Right.
Because actually, a lot of people that always order a bourbon or always order an IPA would a lot of times prefer something else.
Yeah.
You just have to venture out and know what it is you're looking for.
This is definitely sweeter than.
I like that.
Bourbon,
I like that.
And
I think that
it's
tastes
sweet
good.
and it's smooth, and it's got like the smell is a lot different than bourbon, in my opinion. It's a lot sweeter.
When is this going to be available?
This summer at some point. So we're waiting on federal approval, then the state of Ohio. It's a control state, so it needs to get uploaded to their database, all kinds of fun. But sometime this summer, this will be available for.
Have you liked, because I remember when you were getting into this, have you liked the transition to distilling spirits?
Absolutely. The spirits, I've taken a much more hands-on approach. So I started home brewing when I was 20 years old in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm 42 now. I know a pretty good amount about brewing beer, but Cameron, who has his master's in brewing and brewed, he's from Northern California, brewed for North Coast. He teaches me something about brewing every single week. So I let him do his thing with the beer. I've taken a much more hands-on approach to the spirits.
Are you leading the spirits?
Yeah, I'm doing
Endeavor.
Correct.
No pun intended.
And I'm endeavoring to make the spirits, taking a really hands-on approach to that, at least here when we get started. It was always kind of the plan when we even founded Endeavor to make it a distillery as well. It just
I didn't know that.
Took time and took us more than a year of actual permitting and building out all that kind of stuff.
I didn't know that. It's very good though.
Yeah,
and it's making me very excited to try that next.
Well, you know what's weird is that I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised by what we prefer.
Yeah.
I think we're going to prefer this bet more.
That tastes really good.
Yeah, it's really
I like
good.
the sweetness. It tastes really good. We're getting some comments on the mugs. People liking the mugs.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there. These are pretty sick.
I love. Somebody made Micah Risher made a comment that IPA is the hot sauce of craft beer.
There you go.
That's pretty funny.
That's really funny. Yeah.
That's really funny. Oh, we got shot glasses too.
Yeah, big feet shot glasses.
Yeah, we're getting after it when we've got all this on the table.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about your outdoor resume here.
Well, hold on. I kind of want to skip. Scott's got a lot of experience in mountaineering.
Yeah,
and
you just want to skip to K2?
Yeah, Scott, will you talk? If you know the answer, will you talk about some of the differences technically between K2 and Mount Everest?
Yeah.
And I'm building up to this, by the way, folks, because there's a lot of people just died on K2, and it was really bad. And K2 is the second highest mountain in the world.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people consider it the hardest mountain in the world.
That's what I hear.
But hey, Jamie, pull up the stats.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous mountain. So it's the Karakoram too.
That's the range, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Pakistan, and Everest is. I mean, it presents its challenges. It's a mountain in the death zone. It's the tallest mountain in the world. However, it's largely supported by Sherpas and the climbing industry. So you get a lot of megalomaniac surgeons that want to climb it and things like that. You know. And if you have the money, you can get someone to drag you up there to a point. You still have to be fit. You have to, it's not like a total noob can get to the top of that. I have a really good friend of mine summited Everest the year I got married, actually. He missed my wedding because he was coming down. He was part of the first Chilean expedition on the Tibetan Chinese side coming up. He successfully summited, said it was amazing. Sometimes people knock it just for being a trek that you're hauled up. But it's actually, it's a better climb. And I've got another good buddy who's guided it several times, Jacob Schmitz. He lives over in the Netherlands right now. And he's guided it a few times. He's guided, I think, all the 7 summits at this point. And K2 is a whole other level. Yeah. I mean, it's not something for a casual mountaineer.
Right.
If I had 60, 70 grand in the bank and some time.
Is that what it is?
That's to climb Everest.
You're talking 60 to 70 G's.
It might be higher than that now. I don't even know.
Do you know like why it costs that much?
Well, it actually costs that much. Just the logistics of getting people, supplies, oxygen there is legitimate, not to mention the fees, because a lot of the local people, the Sherpas, as well as the government,
like
they rely on that. That's their life.
Yeah.
And so it costs a lot of money to get up there. If I had that money just kicking around and plenty of time, I would feel comfortable climbing Everest. That's within my skill set to have a Sherpa drag me up the mountain.
Yeah.
Not that my skill set is that great. I would have no business going to K2. Absolutely not.
Is it more like when everybody says it's more technical, is it like, what does that mean? Is it like more like on faces of rocks, or is it more steep? Is it a lot more ice? Like,
yeah, like why?
Yeah. Well, you're actually doing technical climbing at serious altitude
in the death zone.
Yeah. Whereas
you're not just like walking.
You're not just like walking up.
Exactly. Like, so the Nepali side of Everest, I know, has the Hillary step, and it's got a little bit of climbing that's a bit technical, but there's also fixed lines up there.
Like, are you like actually like, when you say like you're actually climbing, are you like are you just going up a steep thing? Are you like ice axing in? Like what is that?
Well, I think part of it to remember is that the answer on K2 is yes.
Okay.
But within mountaineering, every year the conditions change. So sometimes what was a rock face is now an ice face, or where there was snow, there's now packed ice, or there's exposed rock. So depending on the year that you're out there, the route will change slightly. And something like an Everest is nice in a sense because teams of Sherpas have gone up there and they've laid ladders and fixed lines. So if you're climbing Everest on the traditional route, you are hooking your Jumar into the fixed line and you're walking up.
You just said like you knew what a Jumar is.
Yeah, I did.
It's an ascender. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
Little things that
you go.
exactly. It goes one way and then you pull the button to go the other way.
Okay. It's called Jumar?
It's one name for it.
Okay.
An ascender, a Jumar. Yeah. And you're walking up that way. On K2, you don't really have that support because not many people climb it.
Yeah.
Here's some crazy stats on K2 according to Google. Only 350 people have reached K2's summit, and 77 people have died.
Dude, that is insane.
Yeah.
That's 1 in 5 almost die.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that?
I mean, it's the adrenaline rush.
If I was like, hey, you wanted to do this thing where like there's a 20% chance you're gonna die, I'd be like, I'm good.
I'll go walk Mount Hood.
So I want to ask you, what are I know. So we discussed this in the last podcast we did with you, but what are some of your climbing highlights? I know you've done a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so the big mountains that people know, I've been on Denali, Kilimanjaro. People are always impressed with Kilimanjaro. It's a fun trek that's culturally awesome. Yeah. It's a hike. If you're in good shape and you're a backpacker hiker,
it's not too bad.
Go do it. Yeah,
JK is really hiking stuff.
Yeah, yes. What about what? So what else?
Aconcagua, tallest mountain in the world that's outside of the Himalayas and border of Chile and Argentina.
How tall is it?
22,000, almost 23,000.
Wait, do you go up that?
Yeah.
That's legit.
That's no joke.
Yeah, it's in 22.9, something like that. I've been to the Himalaya as well, north of India, right next to Nanda Devi. We climbed a couple mountains over there.
So
wow, I didn't know about that.
What altitude's considered like the death zone?
Typically 25,000-ish feet, and that's kind of, so the death zone is defined as the point where your human physiology will never recover and be able to sustain itself. So every human being will eventually die above that point in altitude.
So it's just a matter of time,
give or take.
Ish.
Yeah, and in theory, that's kind of the artificial number people put on mountains as a general rule of thumb, but individuals have different physiologies.
Yeah. So you were pretty close to there at 22, 23?
23, yeah.
How shitty did you feel up there?
Yeah. Man, it was...
Did you use oxygen?
No oxygen. And oxygen makes things easier to a point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it makes things harder because if things go bad
Yeah.
and you've been using oxygen, you're at a
screwed.
greater risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to use oxygen, don't use it.
What out of all the hikes you've done, all the ascents you've done, what's like the hardest?
That's a good question.
We asked the tough questions here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never tell
Larry King
questions.
live, pour one out.
Man, I'm obviously the altitude of Aconcagua, you completely feel.
How many days did it
gets
take
to
you to get up there?
It was, I think, 19, 20 days, something like
So
that.
do you have to do the go up and go down thing to acclimate?
Yeah, absolutely. So on expedition style climbing, you kind of leapfrog it,
Yeah.
where you hike to a high point, you drop some gear, and then you hike back down. And
Okay.
You camp and you sleep. So climb high, sleep low.
Interesting.
And then
I
you
didn't know
kind of
that.
then move up to that next higher camp. And you stay there.
Ah.
Then you carry up to the next camp. You leave a few things. You come back down and you sleep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
And that way it allows your body to come around to that altitude.
And so it took you 20 days. And what was your starting elevation at like day one?
Yeah. So we started in Mendoza, took the bus up to whatever those, Pamientes, I think, which is a little ski resort right there at the base. And there's about a 3-day trek in to get to base camp. I want to say the ski resort's in 9,000 feet. That's total guess.
That's legit.
Okay.
Base camp is 14,000 feet.
Okay.
On Aconcagua on the classic. So we did what's called like the 360 where you go up one side and come down the next. So we went to Plaza Argentina, and that was the base camp. And then you have camps from there, 2, 3, and 4. Then you summit, and you basically clean it all the way back down to the other side on Plaza de Mulas, and then trek out.
When did you do this?
That would have been 2013, 14. In there.
And what's the last one you've been up?
So we went to Denali in 2014. My wife and I took a year-long road trip. So we drove our Toyota truck to Alaska.
That's awesome.
Met up with 2 Chileans, a Brazilian, a German, and another gringo, a guy from Columbus, actually, Nick Schultz, right at you. And we got on Denali, and then my wife did a mountaineering course there in Alaska. Then we drove the truck down to Panama and South America.
Oh,
and
shit.
So
Pan American Highway.
do you sleep in the back of the truck?
We did, yeah.
So you were truck camping?
We were, yep.
Oh man, I watch a great truck camping channel on YouTube, by the way. Truck camping fishing. Shout out to the channel Mav. I freaking love it.
How hard?
That's awesome.
How hard was Denali?
Denali's cold. It's a lot more technical than the other mountains because you literally fly a plane with skis on it, a ski plane, onto a glacier, and you pretty much, except a little bit of exposed rock, are on snow, ice, glacier the entire time.
Wow.
So your whole route. We climbed the West Buttress, which is kind of the classic straight approach. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy.
What time is this? Summer? Did you do all this?
Summertime.
I guess you kind of have to.
Yeah, and so with mountaineering, when you're on glacier routes like that, you have to time it just right because it's too late in the summer. The crevasses are too wide because there's been too much snow melt. But it's too early. You don't know where they are. There's other conditional issues.
Oh, interesting.
You have every year is a little different. The route changes slightly, but in a route that's been traveled like that, people get up there. You don't want to be the first people up there because they've sort of set the route for the season.
What's the most dangerous situation you've been in a high alpine environment?
That was probably in India, actually. So I had my 21st birthday in New Delhi, India.
Nice.
Having come down from climbing up in the Kumon Garhwal. And New Delhi's a crazy town to begin with.
Yeah.
But we should actually, we are in the IMF, the Indian Mountaineering Federation, as the first group to have ever done something which isn't really that cool. But so we went up to the peak was Bulgari, and there's a pass that goes down this other side. So we were in one basin, and people have climbed up it from one basin, and people have climbed up it from the other basin, but no one ever climbed up it from one basin and passed and gone down the other basin.
Okay.
So we were the first group to do that.
Okay.
But as we were coming down the backside, and at that point we were kind of really committed to it, we couldn't really, because all of our stuff, we'd hired a porter to carry stuff around and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And there was kind of this kind of sketchy Serac field, which are like big ice pillars that could break loose, and some signs
I was going to ask you what
some avalanche
what a
runoff.
Serac was.
So it's like a pillar of ice and snow, and we had to kind of cross this pretty sketchy area. We're on rope teams too, coming down this side. So it was sort of like, okay, go quickly and wait here where you're safe. And we went one team at a time just to kind of get across, and I was pretty sketchy. But.
And you're all roped together?
Yeah. So rope teams, you have typically ideally three, sometimes four people on a team. And when you're crossing crevasses on glacier travel, it's kind of glacier travel basics. And that way, if anyone at any point were to fall in a crevasse, you're attached to another person who can self-arrest and pull you out of that crevasse.
So the point. So are you just, when you say rope team, is it just you and another person that are roped together, or is it like a whole line of people? Sometimes
it's only two people, but typically you want to have a third person. Is kind of the ideal. For me, a 3-man rope team is pretty ideal.
So if somebody goes in a crevasse, then you're just like self-arresting, sticking your ice axe in there and trying to stop.
Precisely. And it's sort of like the reason that a third person is really nice is because if you're just one other person, you've arrested that fall, and then you have to set an anchor while you're having that third person be able to come up and set the anchor, tie the rope off, and you work together.
It should just be standard that you have 3 people on it.
It's a lot safer. Yeah.
Or more than 3.
4,
I was like, if I'm attached to him and he's going in a hole, like, I mean, I don't know what, I mean, I can hold you for a little bit.
It'll be one of those situations where you have to cut the line.
You got to cut the line.
Yeah,
like, you get to live.
I know. I was like, all right.
Have you like heard of that, like anything ever going wrong, and like anytime you've been out there, like it's something like really bad happened?
I mean, I've been close to things happening.
Yeah.
But never really seen anything.
That's good.
Personally, in there, but next to.
What's like the camp life like when you're doing this?
Do you just get to camp and you're just exhausted?
Like I've seen like the typical, like you probably have these like battered down like mountain hardware tents and like
the Trangos.
Yeah. Like, so like what time do you get to camp? Like, what do you do? Like, do you just like boil water and go to bed?
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of depends.
Are people hanging?
Yeah, they definitely do, you know, and it kind of depends on what mountain you're on and what you're doing. And, some of the base camps on the bigger mountains.
They're like parties, right?
Can get pretty fun. And the guides like to party and the Sherpas like to, well, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
The local porters or wherever it might be. There's a lot of fun going on. So like Plaza de Mulas on Argentina, for example, is kind of the more trekking trail side of things.
Right.
And that you can buy beers from like the food tents there and stuff like that. And definitely don't recommend it on the way up the mountain, but on the way down, hell yeah. So on the way down, we went through Plaza de Mulas and we had a couple beers.
Yeah.
Because we summited, we're trekking out the next day. Why not? Plaza Argentina, a little bit smaller, and not as much, but sure, there's some fun. You're kind of in you're in your tents. You get to know your tent mates really well. And the higher up the mountain, typically you consolidate tents if you're with the larger.
I was gonna say, so you're stacked
you're in there, and you get to know them really well, and it's fun.
How many people are in these tents at high altitude?
2 or 3, sometimes 4. It just depends on the size of the tent and your group dynamics too. Like how many people do you have? Do you have an even number, an odd number?
Okay.
On Denali, like what we did, we each had the sleeping tents. So you're with your tent mate or tent mates, and then we basically dig a big hole and put a tarp, like a circus top over it.
Okay.
And that's our cook tent. And the cool thing about snow, if you ever snow camped or like made igloos or snow caves, you can form it. So you take time. We make benches. If you're on Denali, typically you try to find one that exists. So you don't have to invent it. And then you can kind of customize it. So you move into a fixer-upper and you dig some benches, you make your cooking shelf and like cubbies for food.
I was going to say, I have to imagine as you're going up the mountain, there are like set spots that people stay at, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And they're already like kind of like good campsites probably.
Yeah. And importantly, they've already been probed out. So if you're on a glacier, you don't know where crevasses could be. So you've got probe holes, you're going around. And if you're out of a perimeter, you need to be roped up.
Yeah.
Period. because you
makes
don't know
sense.
where a crevasse may be. But what happens is they establish camps and they've already probed that whole area for potential crevasses. So you know if you're inside that perimeter, you can unrope, you can camp, you can be more free, but you don't leave that perimeter without being on a rope.
You can tell that I know nothing about this.
I also know zero.
And it's something, first off, I want to crack the bourbon open.
Yeah.
But it's something, mountaineering is something that's very cool to me. And it's another, like, it's kind of, you're backpacking. You're just like backpacking up a mountain.
I want to do.
Basically,
I read and watch videos that like Mount Hood is like a good like entry level.
I got some crap in your ice, Scott.
That's
and
all
I feel
right, man.
I feel terrible about it. We got
Don't
no
worry about it.
no. Give me that here. Get that ice cube out of there. I watched as you were drinking that, and I was like, there's a piece of lint in his ice, and I can't have Scott.
Is that what it was, lint?
Yeah, I was like, I can't have Scott get that.
It's good tinder. You know, take the lint out of your dryer. It's a great way to start a fire.
All right, what's the story on the bourbon?
So bourbon, 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malt. Barley.
So we're gonna feel a little spice from the rye, maybe.
Little spice. This is also cask strength. So it's about, I
that mean?
think this is about 55%. It
So
has
you-
not been cut with water.
Yeah, you
yet.
don't cut it. It's like barrel proof, cast strength.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one, when we sell it this summer, we will proof it down to the same as that, which is 45%.
You should
Oh, so
keep
you
it as
save the high
cast
stuff
strength.
for
People go
us.
crazy for cast.
We will have some reserved, and these are both very young whiskeys. They're both about a year old. We will have some after 2 years released as a straight bourbon and a straight malt whiskey.
So this is a year.
It's 1 year old,
Awesome.
pretty much
There
exactly.
we go. Good smell.
Wow,
Very smooth.
that's good.
Very smooth.
It's like it's caramely, coats
It's
your
caramely.
mouth. That's a year.
Good. It's
You know-
crazy. That's only a year.
Yeah.
Wow, I got like a cinnamon thing.
Cinnamon gingerbread almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That is delicious, Scott.
It's really good.
You know, I read about like, you know, there's a snobbery out there that's like,
Oh, I'm definitely tasting the cinnamon.
yeah, where it's like, oh, you know, the longer you age a whiskey, the more people go after it. But it's that's like Christmas almost.
It's
That's
nice,
really
right?
good.
Yeah.
And to be clear, there's no cinnamon. There's no additions to this.
There's no
at
cinnamon
all.
in that?
Nope. We got some nice phenols that are produced as a process of the fermentation and clarified from the distillation.
It's like it's very coating. You're not getting kicked in the face by the proof.
Mm-hmm.
What is the rough proof on this?
I think it's about 55%
Okay.
alcohol, which is 110 proof, give or take.
Yeah, I mean of all the bourbons that we've drank over the last couple of years,
Dude, that's good.
my favorite proof is around like the 110, 115 range. So.
Yeah, when you get above that, I'm like, just come on.
You add some water
I gotta
to
do
it.
stuff tomorrow.
The nice thing is you can add some water or some ice and get it down to the level that you want.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really the advantage of having a cask strength and opening it up.
We should also note
This is delicious.
that you also have rum. You have two types of rum and vodka
Yes, we have a
and
vodka,
gin. You
a
have
white
two
rum,
types of gin.
a botanical gin, a dry gin,
Yeah.
and then at the same time we're releasing these two, we have a French oak and Brazilian oak aged white rum. So it's actually a dark rum.
The rum was really good, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have an empty bottle upstairs to remind myself that I need to go get another bottle on my
Get
bar
another
cart.
bottle.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's really good.
And if you like whiskey and you like that rum, you'll really like it's an Amburana Brazilian oak and a French oak aged rum. And then we have our botanical gin that we've aged in toasted cherry wood. That's to die for too.
I know you're in the infancy of doing your bourbons and stuff, but you should finish some of these off in some of those rum casks.
And that's the whole plan. Yes. No. So the brilliant thing about being both a brewery and a distillery is the almost infinite life cycle of a barrel, for example. So a lot of times a distillery will make a bourbon and they'll sell that barrel to a brewery.
Right.
But then we can take that barrel after putting a beer in it and give it back and put a rum in it, for example, and then make a beer in it after that. And so talking about the life cycle of that barrel long term, and of course, all this stuff takes years,
Yeah.
or 1 year,
Right,
not even
yeah.
a year into being a distillery,
Right.
you know. So it takes years, but that's kind of really the idea, is being environmentally friendly with those wood sources, but maximizing everything creatively we can do with that through multiple life cycles.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. When we were gonna try these, I was convinced that, you know, I was gonna like the malt whiskey better.
Dude, the whiskey's good.
But this bourbon is fantastic. It's got a sweet finish, like a sweet cinnamon finish. It's very smooth. I really like it. It's delicious.
It's really good.
Thank you.
This is great. I need to have you on more often.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
We have beers too, so
I know, and I wanna get into that after this.
Absolutely.
I know, this is one of those streams. It's Friday.
Yeah.
No, I was so I actually want to talk a little bit about the COVID situation being
Being a small business
being a
owner,
small
especially
business.
one that's like
and
rough.
a you know, a microbrewery and a distillery. I mean, are you starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel here?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, obviously I believe in science. So COVID is real. Can we just say that? I actually had COVID. My family had COVID. My wife got it from a charity
Scott's
volleyball
immune.
tournament.
That's why he's in the
that's why
studio.
we're
I don't
here.
want to hear any of these.
It's the irony is that no one at the Brewstillery has had COVID except for me. And I got it because my wife played in a charity volleyball tournament.
That's
and
what you
got
get
it from
for
there.
being
Yeah,
charitable.
I know, right? Crazy. And so none of our employees, and to our knowledge, none of the patrons picked it up from our place. You know what I'm saying? So there's been a lot of vilification of bars and restauants.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And there are certainly some bars and restaurants out there where people are getting drunk and
Yeah.
commingling. That's not your average brewery.
Right.
That's not your average restaurant or a place like ours, you know? So we take it seriously. We take health and safety seriously, and we've had a completely clean record.
When we were drinking at the bar, I texted a picture of my drink to my buddies in New York City, and I said, "Eat your heart out, boys." my one buddy is literally like, "Dude, I drove 45 minutes to Connecticut so I could go to a diner and get some eggs."
That's crazy.
So and then I was talking to Chad from UGQ, and he's up in Michigan, and everything's still closed down there.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize. He's like, "Dude, I drove to Toledo just so I could go to a restaurant." And I forgot that Ohio, I didn't realize that restaurants were still closed in other places.
Yeah.
It's like we're still shut down a little bit, but at least restaurants. I mean, I guess as a brewery, are you regulated at all in terms of capacity?
Yeah, we absolutely are. And the way Ohio's law works is that any liquor license is associated with a food license of some kind.
Oh, so you're regulated like a restaurant?
Precisely.
Okay.
So there's different levels and categories. So even though we don't have a kitchen, we rely on food trucks. There's no legal differentiation between bars and restaurants in Ohio.
Interesting.
So that's why when they're shutting down things, they can't legally differentiate between bars and restaurants. Every state's a little different.
I didn't
Some
know
states
that.
are different. Yeah. And I didn't until I opened up.
Until you opened a bar.
So
I think a lot of people were in your shoes. Like,
of course,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's been a really tough year. I've gotta
for
say,
sure.
we have an amazing team. Like all of our people, every employee we have is an amazing human being.
Yeah.
And I think that really, good people attract good people, and we have awesome people who've been fantastic through this whole process. It's been slow at times, We've had other ways that's been good. The PPP loans have been massively helpful.
Yeah.
We've successfully gotten 2 rounds of that.
Nice.
good.
And that, honestly, if that hadn't happened both times, who knows if we'd still be in business,
Yeah.
Could we do more? Probably.
Yeah.
Obviously.
There were a decent. Well, I walked in there. I was like, I haven't been to a bar in COVID. I have no idea. There were like not a small amount of.
No,
people
I
there.
didn't know the rules too. I was like, what do I do?
Yeah, I haven't eaten in a restaurant. I knew you wear a mask when you go in, but then when you sit there, you're good to take it off.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Yeah, that's the rule. If you get up to go to the bathroom, you get up to leave, to
Right.
enter, put your mask on.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting down with your group of people, it's got to be 10 people or less. You shouldn't, we can't have people coming and going and hopping between different groups.
Yeah.
So
I see.
you come in with your group,
You gotta
or
stay
to your
there.
group, you stay with that group.
Okay.
You know, and then you can leave together, but you can't come into one table and join another table and go make some new friends at the other end of the bar, you know, that kind of thing. That's not allowed.
And then obviously all the people working there are wearing masks.
Yes.
And like, I always just feel like a huge dick when I'm there drinking and I'm not wearing my mask because I'm drinking, but the people that are in like, this is, I think because I've been inside when it was warm outside, we would go to patios.
Of course.
And I always just feel like a dick though, but I'm like, I gotta drink. I can't drink through the mask.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to say that all the people working there were masked up, and it was like it was legit.
Yeah. And then that's part of policy as well.
Yeah.
Like in Ohio, like everyone working there has to be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You know, so and if you notice me, like if I stand up, I put on the mask. I went back and poured a couple beers, got some stuff behind always. And you walk behind the bar, you wash your hands in. And you wash your hands out. So we've got a hand wash sink right there.
Oh,
so
I didn't see that.
all those little, and then someone leaves, we wipe down and sterilize.
It helps that you
place.
make your own sterilization substance there.
Correct. Yeah, we have 4 shots from whiskeys and other products that we can use as cleaning devices. And
I like
hand sanitizer.
I love
and when this
whiskey soap, by the way.
First off, I have your candles in there. And I still have some of your hand sanitizer. When this shit all started going down,
You were the only one.
Andy and I immediately went over to you and we bought sanitizer off you, which was legit. And I still have some of that to this day.
I do too.
Well, good. We have 5-gallon buckets available still. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's the sanitizer thing was really interesting. A lot of small distilleries got screwed by that.
Really?
Yes.
How so?
Many of them made a lot in response and never got it sold because then the big sanitizers kicked
Then
back
everybody
in.
came, so they're stuck with inventory.
Gojo
with
cranked up
product.
product. Okay.
What happened also was the FDA released an emergency authorization for small distilleries to be able to start making hand sanitizer, and it was basically one recipe, the World Health Organization's recipe.
I remember you
which
talking
was
about
designed
this.
for third world countries,
yeah.
you know, and you couldn't add other things to it because then you'd have to go through a whole FDA approval authorization, all this kind of stuff. And then recently, the FDA then announced that it was going to go back and charge all of these small micro distilleries this massive,
Really?
$14,000 facility charge and all this kind of stuff.
What?
They ended up not doing that.
Okay.
Thankfully, because of pushback and all that stuff. So they didn't do that, but we're now not legally able to produce that anymore because we don't have non-emergency status authorization of this product. We still have some remaining product. So
Do you think
Overbearing government.
Do you think big companies got in on that and were like, hey, you need to stop these distilleries? Like, you know.
I mean, I would hope that that's not necessarily happening. It's more just following the rules that have been established by large corporations to begin with.
At least let
Greg,
you sell your inventory.
Greg Morton Outdoors says our sanitizer at work smells like tequila.
That's the stuff that Giant Eagle does too.
Our smells like our vodka because it's basically our vodka. That's all that it is.
I like the lotion you made.
Yeah. Okay.
I liked it was sanitizer, but it had like other stuff in it.
So we made a little bit of I think I gave it a test batch. We never sold that because
we're not supposed to talk about that.
no, we added a little aloe in there, but then
It was great.
Then they released their authorization, and we couldn't put the aloe
Scott.
in there.
I got
So
the illegal Endeavor
illegal stuff.
Endeavor sanitizer lotion over there.
the nice illegal thing too is because when we make vodka, it comes off the still at 96%.
Yeah.
So it's Everclear effectively. It's pure ethanol. It's amazing fuel for camping.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Can we get some camping stove?
I mean, I have access to camping fuel, you know, but it's highly illegal and unregulated.
I have the Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
They call it White Dog.
Nice, yeah.
They actually sell it.
Unaged, yeah.
And I bought a bottle of it over there because I thought it was hilarious. But I have the Buffalo Trace equivalent of it. It was $14.
Yeah, you could do White Dog too.
Yeah. What's the proof on that?
Andy, you can grab it. It's literally right there. I was like, I'm never gonna drink this, but I'm gonna buy it. It was like $14. What is it? It's probably 62.5. Yeah, so it's not that.
Okay,
It's
that's
not
cast strength. Yeah.
Okay.
So bourbon by law is 62.5 is kind of that magical number where it has to come off the still at less than that number. So they're sort of maximizing their profits based on fermentation.
I see.
And when you can put it into the barrel. So they're basically taking what they would put straight into the barrel, and they're not putting it in the barrel. They're bottling it, selling it to you.
I know. I just never seen it in a store. I'm sure it's
It's a novelty thing.
I'm sure it is
terrible.
disgusting. But I'm like, you probably could use it as camping
It's
fuel.
actually probably not that bad.
Should we try it?
I'm not going to say no.
Okay.
Do you want to try it?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be strong,
It's gonna be strong as shit, dude. It's 130.
but it's Buffalo Trace, right? So they make really
Yeah,
good
let's do
stuff.
this, let's do this.
I think they're fantastic.
Here. Okay, so this is. I never thought we would do this. This is White Dog Mash number 1.
So this is before this is what they put into the barrels.
Correct.
And mash bill number 1, I think, is the higher wheat one. I can't remember.
It's gotta taste like ass. We're gonna find out.
We're going to find out.
This is great. I was like, I bought this because I saw it.
I have
was
one
like,
too.
Andy got one. It was like $14. I was like, I'll just get it.
$14 for that.
I'm like, it's a lot of alcohol.
Yep.
Dude, are you serious? Be careful with this. Yeah. Have you ever used one of these? They're sharp
Not
as
a Grunster's Brook,
shit.
but yeah, I'm sure.
Easy
yeah. Fine
cowboy.
Swedish steel.
Easy cowboy.
I'm an 8th
This
Swedish.
is like how people lose fingers right here.
We opened up a bottle of beer with a sword, by the way, a Viking sword at the brewery.
Oh,
It was
that's
on a
that's
YouTube video.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's. I've used it a couple times, so it's not
Yeah,
like super
that's,
sharp, but it's sharp, man. So, how about I told you we have a hot tent, right?
No,
That's why we got this. Do you know what a hot tent is?
vaguely.
I'm gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
So it is literally. I'll set a picture right now. It is a tent, and you put a
We have a stove for it.
titanium wood burning stove in it. I'll show you a picture right now. I can't see what I'm typing because I don't have my contacts in. But it is so it's like a teepee style tent.
Sure.
And it just has like a little hole. Oh, that's a bad picture. There you go. It's got a little hole here.
Oh.
Everybody that's viewing. If I can.
Everyone's like, there's comments here. When does the hot tent start?
All right, hold on. All right, so everyone watching, you can see. So it's a teepee style tent. It's got a it's literally it's a 3-pound titanium stove that breaks down to like this.
Flat. Yeah.
And it's got I got another picture of it. There's the wood stove.
Nice. Wow.
So in the winter, you can run it, and you can there we go. You can like it was like 10 degrees outside, and you keep it like 50 degrees inside.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, it makes winter camping. How bad does it smell? Do we have more ice? We're doing shots of this?
No, just
Take
Just
it
sip
neat.
it.
Yeah.
Here, Scott. Yeah. Andy and I will share this. He doesn't know you don't have COVID, right?
I don't think so.
We'll drink from separate sides.
That'll solve everything.
Oh, it smells like kind of like vanilla-y.
It smells a little
It's
bit
sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, vanilla.
It's not that bad. It's got taste to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa. It burns.
I mean, it's full strength at 62 and a
It's
half.
125 proof.
But the general rule is
not
if you
that bad.
put bad whiskey
I
into
got
a
this like corn after.
yeah,
Definitely tastes like corn.
yeah,
Oh, it tastes like popcorn. Yeah,
that sweet corn,
Yeah.
yeah, buttery popcorn.
it tastes
yeah.
like popcorn.
Yeah. If you put bad product into a barrel, you're not going to get good product after. And Buffalo Trace does an amazing job. They're awesome.
that's
their
like-
product's good. So
Like I could bring that backpacking and mix it with Mio. It's not that bad.
That'll really mess you up. It
many
tastes
ways.
like sweet corn.
Yeah. Once you said that, it like popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
That's super interesting. So next time we got to taste the Endeavor equivalent of that.
yeah,
What would we call it? This is called White Dog. Like white Squatch.
Perro Blanco.
Oh, Andy's having a hard time with it.
It's burnt. It's rough at first, but the aftertaste is buttered.
It's
popcorn.
better than it tastes like popcorn.
Yeah,
It's super interesting.
yeah. Do you know? I don't know what their grain bill is on that, but
Mash bill. I'll look it up. I
It's
think mash bill number
mash
one.
build number one.
I
whatever
think
they call it.
I think it's
don't
higher
know that.
wheat or higher corn. I mean,
Okay.
Gotta be. Yeah, popcorn.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what goes into the barrel, and then you get all the lovely
That comes out. I remember when
tannins.
we went to Buffalo Trace, and I remember like we went through like the little. This was like right like literally 3 weeks before COVID.
Wow.
And we did their free tour, which is, I don't know, it's a fantastic free tour. But I remember I was sitting there, I didn't know anything about bourbon. And they were showing like the process. I'm like, oh yeah, bourbon, it tastes like charred barrels. Like that's what the taste comes from. Kind of like they take that stuff, they throw it in a barrel.
A charred barrel.
By
law.
And then,
charred American
and then
oak.
depending on where it sits and how they move it, that's like where the taste comes from. We're like, oh yeah, this tastes like a burned inside of a barrel in a good way.
Of course.
But I didn't realize like that's where the taste comes from.
They don't disclose what mash bill number 1
Well,
is.
it's a ton of corn.
It's a lot of corn.
It's bourbon.
I've never seen that for sale in Ohio. We got that in Kentucky.
Yeah. And that's so it's funny because when you taste, so what I should do next time I come on, I'll bring some samples, and I have a few samples of bourbon mash. Or actually, they're pretty pure. So we have a 95% corn mash, a 95% wheat mash, 99% rye mash, and a 100% barley mash that are all white and unaged.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And so tasting those 3 samples, and when you taste the malt, it's sweet. When you taste the wheat, it's kind of round. When you taste the rye, it's spicy. When you taste the corn, it's rubbing alcohol.
Okay.
You know, and it's got some other things going on.
It's terrible.
This is interesting. So mash bill number 1 is very low rye. And so that would be, they compare it.
So corn.
It would be Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor, George T. Stagg, and Benchmark.
Which I've never had. Benchmark.
Benchmark is like their cheap line.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
It definitely buttered popcorn.
Yeah, it's a very weird sensation.
Sure.
When you drink it.
Sure.
A little rough.
That's a little rough.
I go back to the.
Yeah, we'll go
back to the good stuff.
Back to the.
But it's better than you thought it would be, right?
It was better. I expected it to be like pure trash. It was better than that.
Well, Buffalo Trace is fantastic. They do a great job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was confident.
If we keep drinking, I'll get the super expensive stuff I have. I guess
the Weller over there.
I've got an old Rip too.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes out occasionally. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So there's something Andy doesn't know about that you're doing that I want to talk about. That you Facebook messaged me about.
don't.
Oh, nice.
Do you know what he's doing?
Why don't you tell me these things?
Because you don't have Facebook.
I could give 2 shits.
You know what Scott's doing?
What?
He's doing the Buckeye Trail.
Well, we talked about that last time, and no, I'm not doing the Buckeye Trail.
Wait, I thought you were doing part of it. You told me you were.
No, so what
I thought you were doing a through hike of it or something.
So I'm not gonna through hike the Buckeye.
But you're
Trail.
doing some of it.
I'm
right?
gonna through hike the Ohio to Erie Trail.
Oh, that's
Okay.
but that's
Wait,
right.
what's
That's
the
right.
Ohio
Yeah,
to
that's
Erie?
right.
So it's
But part of it's on the
largely-
Buckeye Trail, right?
Maybe.
Am I missing?
I don't know.
I remember
Maybe.
we Facebook messaged
we've
about
joked a
this.
lot
Yeah.
about the Buckeye Trail.
The
okay.
Buckeye Trail Association hates us.
Okay. Sorry, not the Buckeye Trail. The Ohio to Erie Trail.
Yeah, so
I'm on it right now.
I'm planning a through hike for this summer on the Ohio to Erie Trail, and really it's a
That's no joke.
it's a bike trail.
Give me-
it's
gi-
largely
Give me
Look,
the I
rails
know.
to trails.
Give me the like high level synopsis of it.
326 miles from Cincinnati River, Ohio River,
Okay.
to Cleveland,
Yep.
Okay.
right through Columbus. It's largely rails to trails, like converted
That looks awesome.
bike
Look at
path.
that.
Yeah. I
Do
mean,
people bike it primarily?
people bike it. I don't know if anyone's through hiked it before. I mean, I'm gonna find out.
We could send you
some.
some resupplies.
So it's
Yeah.
all bike.
It's just
Like
walking.
paved?
Yeah, it's like
It's
largely
just
paved. I mean, it's largely paved. It's not going to be technical terrain.
Just walking.
It's basically get some padded or running shoes and a day pack.
Wait, are you gonna
And
bike it or walk it?
I'm gonna walk it.
Okay.
And the idea is, I've been kind of wrestling with some different concepts, for a while.
How did this happen? Let's talk
so
about this.
the funny thing is,
Out of all the trails, out of all the trails,
in all the corners
you're
of the
like
world,
326
why did you
miles.
choose me?
Knock out the Ohio Trail.
Yeah. So First and foremost, I have a almost 4-year-old child and a almost 1-year-old child at home.
So you're like, I'm going to get out of the house.
So my ability to leave for extended periods of time
Right.
are few to none
Yeah.
because I want to spend this time. I'm going to take my son on his first overnight backpacking trip this summer.
That's cool.
Really excited for that. Fitzroy is my son, and Monroe is my daughter. They're both named after
I was
mountains.
going to say, I was going to tell you to explain that.
Yeah. So Fitzroy is the famous mountain on the border of Chile and Argentina.
It's the Patagonia. It's on the Patagonia.
Exactly. It's the Patagonia label. I lived in Chile for a long time. It's a beautiful mountain, and all of the mountains in Scotland over 3,000 feet are named as the Monroes.
Oh,
So our
know
daughter
that.
is named Monroe.
I knew she was named after a mountain range.
Mountains.
It's in Scotland.
All of the mountains over 3,000 feet in Scotland.
So 3,000 feet is high in Scotland.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Ish. It's all
Right.
It's like the Appalachian
Right.
equivalent kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same mountain range. Anyway, so I'm in a book club. I'm into literature. I'm a literature.
You're very well spoken.
Yeah,
fellow.
you're way more educated.
I'm a nerd.
You're very well spoken.
Yeah. And so we read a book called On Trails recently. Are you guys familiar with it?
I've heard of
you
it.
Heard of it?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And he's traced the concept of what a trail is from biological single cellular organisms through ants, through humans, to internet connectivity, all these kind of things. And my book club, my buddy Joe and Kevin and I, we met at the trail, the trail that starts kind of down there at the boathouse and goes down to Woodlands Tavern.
I've run that. I've run that many times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And we just walked it while talking about this book because why not? You're reading a book on trails. And my question was, well, how far does this thing go? And I looked it up and, oh, crap, it goes to Cincinnati and it goes to Cleveland.
Oh, so the Olentangy Trail is part of this?
That is part of that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, so it literally like less than a mile from here.
We'll definitely resupply.
We'll resupply it. We'll be on the side.
We'll be.
Well, I'm going to take a few rest days at my house with my kids. That's part of the reason why I can probably do this.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe. And so, I was just kind of looking into that. But a cool thing about reading this book is sort of that separation of the concept of wilderness and nature. And, we're animals.
We are.
You really need to read *Sapiens*.
You do need to read
I'm
Sapiens.
going to, yeah. We're animals. And we have created our environment much like every other animal has created theirs. And even quote, natural environments, it's still kind of artificial in a way.
Yeah.
And, I've always loved travel. I've loved lightweight travel.
You've
I
been
love
all
seeing
over the
places.
world.
And that's a passion of mine too. And it's sort of like combining the idea of adventure trekking and backpacking with travel and lightweight travel is kind of intriguing to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, I prefer an alpine trail. I prefer, Class 3 ridge that's absolutely amazing.
Over walking through Ohio.
But I also like seeing cities and people and interacting and doing those things. And so why not start combining the concept of backpacking and through hiking with urban trails and with these beautiful metro parks that we have all around us.
Yeah. This is that same trail that went through where our sister lived in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it starts right by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It starts right down there on the river. And so it's kind of an idea that, you can do a trail like this largely with a day pack. You can eat at restaurants, gas stations, stay at hotels, or camp out.
You should eat at a gas station every day.
It's a goal.
The roller dog
So
every day.
You're basically going to be a homeless person.
That's not just a through hike goal. That's a life goal, basically.
What is your time frame for doing this?
On a trail like this, I'm going to do some training, some workup, but I think I can probably average 25, 30 miles a day.
If it's on like a flat paved thing.
Yeah.
And it's just about length of time, and it's summer, early fall, that kind of timeline.
How many, so what's the total mileage again?
326. Yeah. So
how many days do you think this will take you with rest days, etc.?
Yeah. So I think walking days will be 11 or 12 days of walking. And
that's bold, Scott.
Yeah, that's aggressive.
That's 25 plus miles a day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scott,
however,
you got to
some
go
rest days in there.
You got to go through those green areas right there. And there's some hills there.
I should pull this up on the
Some
screen.
hills in there. Yeah, please bring that up. So
Ohio to Erie Trail.
Yeah.
the nice thing is that I'll do some days. So I figure 3, 4, maybe 5 days at a trot before
For a rest day.
taking some rest. And the first one is 120, whatever it is, 120 miles to Columbus. So I literally walk to Columbus and like stay with my kids for 3 or 4 days.
This is cool.
And then get back on the trail.
Yeah,
Walk to Millersburg. Probably meet my wife at a B&B up in Millersburg for a couple of days. And then walk to Cleveland. So 3 sections.
I do like how, like,
100.
as I'm following this, it's like it's on a rail line. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're going to have some sketchy camping, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of like urban stealth camping.
Yeah,
If camping,
you're going to want to hide.
Right, so
I'm going to stay at the Holiday Inn.
everybody watching, you can see the screen now.
Yeah.
So the Erie, Ohio to Erie Trail basically start the southern terminus is Cincinnati, and the northern terminus is Cleveland, and it goes right through Columbus. So basically, you're saying the first leg here is 120 miles from Cincinnati up to Columbus. You're going to be going through some hilarious stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Some hilarious.
You're going to be camping next to IKEA.
Some London, Ohio. Yeah. Gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. I have no idea what to expect.
Not camping.
You should go in July.
I may not camp at all. I mean, it may be the Holiday Inn Express and the Speedway. You know,
This is hitchhiking without getting in a car.
basically.
No,
That's
it's cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
It's very cool. So you're gonna think about doing this summer?
Yeah.
Maybe it sounds like a couple weeks is like kind of the time frame.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-3 weeks total.
You're gonna have to let us know.
We'll join you.
You guys should
we're
join
gonna
me
meet
for a
you on
section
part of
hike.
this.
Yeah.
We'll do this section of
Meet me in
downtown
London.
Columbus.
It goes through like actual wilderness.
Absolutely. A few parks.
Please camp in like downtown Columbus under an underpass or something.
I'm looking at where it goes in Columbus. You're right. It goes along the side of oh, dude, you're going through the hilltop, bro.
Yep. Gonna hit that during the daytime.
Look, it's right next to the casino.
Yeah. I may stop by, play some slots.
Keep going.
Or you can just stay and gamble all night. I mean, you don't really have to sleep.
For people unfamiliar with Columbus, this is going through the worst part of Columbus. That's why I go through it in the daytime.
You might want to run that one.
That's awesome, Scott.
Yeah, that is cool.
This will be cool. So then it goes through Columbus. Okay, I see.
Up the Olentangy Trail a little bit.
Trail. That's very cool, man.
Oh, right next to Costco there at Easton.
Yeah, you can resupply at Costco.
Yep, absolutely.
Get a pork shoulder.
I'll be very curious how much of this is paved bike path versus trail.
It's roughly
Is it, just
they
by
say
looking
just
at it,
under 50 miles of road.
Okay.
Where you connect. And I think the longest section was something like 9 miles. Okay. But most of them are like,
really?
It's like a mile or two to connect a trail.
bad.
And then it's all like the Olentangy path or the Scioto path or the,
you're getting into some real woods here.
Good luck on the 30 miles a day through that.
Up to Millersburg.
Dude, Scott, 30 miles, dude. That's going to be challenging through here.
Yeah, it's Ohio. It's still
That's true. It's
flat.
not. It's
and,
not like.
And the thing is, in the summertime, it's not about pace and speed. It's about time.
Yeah.
So you wake up at 6:37 in the morning. You start walking.
You don't camp with us.
I'm looking at where you end.
And you end up right at the
right
the
there
beach,
on the beach in
on
Cleveland.
the
Beautiful
scenic
Cleveland,
Lake Erie.
Ohio.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that is cool.
What part of the summer? Like when are you actually trying to do this?
I have absolutely no idea.
But that would be cool, like a bikepacking trip, because you could.
This
do
looks
that
like it's like built for bikepacking. You could do like a week.
It's absolutely built for bicycles. I'm just figured I'm gonna walk it.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
You gotta put this on YouTube.
Yeah. So actually, I was planning that. I'll probably hit you guys up for some cross promotion.
Hey,
but I'm going to effectively launch Endeavor on YouTube by
this is a perfect
doing this. I'm going to make some of my own gear, and I'm going to
let's talk
do
about
a full gear review of everything.
Yeah, and last time we
trekking pack.
Last time we talked to
this whole
you
adventure.
in the brewery, you had showed us some of your homemade gear.
Yep.
Can I have a beer?
And real quick, we're at a stopping point, and
do we have some comments here?
Gary B says, "Any chance you can wish my daughter Addison happy 7th birthday? She's a huge fan and is watching. Thanks, guys. Of course.
Oh, of course.
Happy birthday, Addison.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Addison.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Love it.
Hopefully
You're a little too young to be
You're a
drinking
little too
bourbon.
Have some juice.
Yeah. Have a Capri Sun.
Yeah, nice Capri Sun.
Nice. We're a family-friendly show here.
Except most of them.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. We're switching from hard liquor on the 7-year-old birthday note. We're switching from hard liquor to beer. I was like, Scott's doing a big long distance trail.
No, that's actually really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I want to try this.
What is that? The banana
It's the
hammock?
banana hammock. I've had that.
Yeah, let me have the banana.
Okay. So, all right. Let's talk. Okay. Because last time I went and bought a ton of beers from you, this was not available.
That's correct. We recently canned this out.
So what do we got here?
This is our hammock. It's
I
a
already found the Sasquatch.
banana hammock,
Love it.
Okay.
banana
I get
daiquiri,
it. I get it. Wait.
hazy IPA.
Okay.
I know I'm gonna love this.
Oh, there's
So-
the Sasquatch.
Andy found the Sasquatch too.
We had a Sasquatch, or a Sasquinoidal species, Sasquatch, on all of our cans. Here in our Icelandic saga, he's climbing up the side of the volcano,
Yeah.
right there. And
If people are not familiar with Endeavor's beers, there's a hidden Sasquinoid on all the cans, so you can find it and everything.
well, on our liquor, we hide the Loch Ness monster because with a nod to Scottish cryptonoid.
Did you hide it on the merch at all?
Some of them, yes. So we not on this one, not on that one, but yes on multiple.
Okay.
We actually had a T-shirt during lockdown that was
That's damn good. That's really good.
it was the social distancing champions. That was Sasquatch riding Nessie on a body of water as a logo.
Dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
So
And that's almost 7%.
It's fruity.
it's
Yeah.
6.9% alcohol as a banana hammock.
Dude,
That's really good.
Obviously very solid banana flavors.
Yeah, and
It's very refreshing.
so here's the thing.
This is so good.
This beer has no bananas. It has no clove. There's
No
nothing
way.
like that.
It's from
in
the
it.
hops, right? Or the yeast?
It's from the yeast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we did, a lot of people that are making hazy IPAs,
Everybody.
there's a
Everybody's
great
making them. They're the
10 to
trend.
20% of the hazy IPAs in the market are good beers
Mm-hmm.
from a technical point of view. And the rest are not. They're just bad beers. And a lot of breweries are stirring crap into the beer.
To like
Some
make
of
it-
them stir in baking flour.
Oh,
Like King Arthur flour or maltodextrin.
like to make it hazy.
To make it hazy.
Really?
Yes. Or they're putting so much hot particulate into it that it's creating this, like, you know, when you get your teeth feel gritty
Yeah.
after you drink a beer that's hazy, or it's like you get this grassy vegetal kind of grossness.
That's flour.
Sometimes it's too much hot particulate because a lot of them just are not good. So what we did, we have good brewing equipment. We are one of the few breweries with a 3-vessel system that has full,
This is so good.
full
I've never
temperature
had
control.
this.
We have a brewmaster who knows what the heck
I've had
he's
all
doing.
your beers other than this one.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's really good.
And so what we did was we made an IPA recipe, but then we used a Hefeweizen yeast,
Is that where
which
the banana?
has
is that
the banana clove flavors.
Okay.
And also remains in suspension. So it makes it naturally hazy and cloudy. We don't have to add anything, and we have good equipment, so we don't have to have bad equipment to make a hazy beer.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty
It's
good,
really
really unique beer. It's sort of a hybridization of different styles, and that's kind of what we're all about. It's
really
hybridizing things.
So the comment says 6.9 banana hammock. I see what you did there.
That's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of good comments.
why is that funny?
There's a lot of good comments. We're trying to get to them. A lot of good comments. I want to talk about what gear you're making for this.
For the trail.
Yeah.
area? Well, we've talked about doing a trail little ourselves.
No, I mean
So-
for your Erie trail. You said you were going to make some of your own gear.
Oh, some of my own gear. I thought you said beer. I mean,
Well,
beer and
we
gear,
can talk
yeah.
about that
Yeah,
too,
that's,
because I still want to do that.
just popped open an Icelandic saga.
I've had
beer
that
as
as well.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still making that? Is that a full-time beer now?
You know,
Okay.
Yes.
Alex is in the chat, Wayfaring West, and he says, you know Alex, he's from REI.
Oh yeah. Hey, Alex.
Yeah, he says, Kristen says she misses the old Icelandic saga.
I see.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so you can tell Alex and Kristen. So what happened was we had a supplier issue back a little more than a year ago where we made a batch of Icelandic and we had used one particular malt, which is a barley, and the supplier was out of it and they didn't know when they were going to get it back in. So our brewmaster asked the malt supplier, well, what do you have that would serve as potentially an alternative? And they suggested a particular malt. And so we used that malt, and it ended up being a very different character malt
really?
for a batch of beer.
Oh, interesting.
And so that single batch of Saga was different. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And some people actually preferred it, but we preferred it too, and I'm sure Kristen preferred the other one. And then so what's in cans right now, what we currently have is, again, that original batch. But we had that one batch that I think is probably what she's referring to that was a little bit different. It was a little bit darker, a little bit hazier. That was because of the one substitute grain that our malt supplier suggested would work, and it just didn't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so sometimes we deal with being able to get relatively small quantities of certain supplies, and they're not always 100% available. So you have to kind of roll with the punches and see what you can get sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You never think about how the supply of that key ingredient can influence the final product, but it makes total sense.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. That's a headache. This is really good, though.
Yeah, this is delicious, actually.
Okay, so to my initial question.
Yes.
For your Ohio to Erie through hike, what kind of gear are you going to make?
So, definitely making a quilt.
Oh.
And
what time of year again?
Summer.
Okay.
So I've made quilts in the past.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when I did my Continental Divide trek from New Mexico to Colorado,
Oh, we haven't talked about that.
I made my own gear.
Wait,
so
what?
Drop that in there.
the big three, I guess you'd say, I made myself, and
That's right.
all the little details and stuff like that. And I'm definitely doing a quilt. I'm gonna make my son a quilt with him. I'm gonna let him choose the colors, the fabric, and all that
That's
stuff
cool.
for his thing. I'm a huge quilt guy. If it's anything other than big cold mountaineering,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in a quilt, and I'm also a tarp guy.
You're a tarp camper?
Oh yeah, tents on big mountains in snow. But other than that, I'm a tarp guy.
Really?
Tarp, July, Ohio?
That's a bold call.
That's bold.
You're gonna
For mosquitoes?
yeah, you're gonna have
Well, you can have a
bugs
nest.
in your ears.
Yeah, I mean that's why you have a little nest that goes under the tarp.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that makes
there's
sense.
different ways to have insect protection.
Right.
You know, the other thing about this kind of trip is I'll be relying on hotels.
Yeah.
I'm literally gonna stay at the Best Western, not Holiday Inn Express. Like, why not?
How many-
It's right there. I'm
how
gonna
many-
spend the $59.
How many
you know?
nights do you think you're gonna be in the woods versus in a hotel?
Well, in theory, I could do the entire trip with never sleeping in the woods.
Really?
That'd be expensive.
Exactly. So, and I'm gonna want to stealth camp. I'm gonna want to urban camp a little
Right,
bit. So it's more about.
Is there none of this trail that's in the actual woods?
I mean, I'm sure there is. I'll be going through some areas. You know?
Are you gonna be tarp camping in a Walmart parking lot?
Well, no, you just set up in the corner in the shopping cart. You know, you turn it over, and you know it's good. So I mean, the concept is it's largely an emergency kit. You know,
Okay,
so I want to keep that down to the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And if you get too tired and you're 5 miles or 10 miles away from that destination where you can get to, then you should be able to sneak off and stealth camp and just sleep.
Yep.
You know, and then wake up and hike. So it's pretty minimal.
Okay.
I'm not talking about setting up a camp.
Right.
You know,
Right.
or doing anything like that.
Right.
It's more about stealth,
Right.
on the low down, more of an emergency setup. So super ultra light,
This is gonna be a light kit,
light kit,
especially
very
if
light
it's in
kit.
the summer.
Yeah, and especially because you're relying on food elsewhere, you're not gonna have to carry
This
much.
is gonna be super light.
Super light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'm gonna do some testing on a few backpacks that I already have. I may take one of those. I may make my own.
Yeah.
Gonna do some testing of a few different road trail runner shoes, few equipments, tarps, some tents, some different kind of things. You know,
It's almost like you would want what you said, like road running shoes over like
absolutely
trail shoes.
the thick padding. 'Cause
Yeah.
a lot of it's
Yeah.
on paved surfaces, and you don't need any lug. You don't need anything. It's just you need padding.
Are you like, how many, like, are you going to be like taking camping food with you, like backpacking food? Are you be like, I'm going to Subway tonight?
I mean, that's a good question. That's a question I'm going to answer as I get more into it.
27 miles a day. I'm going to McDonald's every night.
Like, oh, it's a Taco Bell.
I'll just order pizza.
I'm going to get breakfast at Cracker Barrel because it's right there. Yeah. So I think as I flesh out the trail a little bit more and like plan it, I'm going to, this is just a grand idea right now. And I've done some very rough research. I know that I'm roughly dividing into 3 sections. There's roughly Cincy to Cleveland, or Cincy to Columbus, Columbus to Millersburg, Millersburg to Cleveland. And those are all roughly 110,
I was going to ask you what the 3
miles,
sections were. Okay.
And so I'll plan on major rest resupplies at Columbus and at Millersburg.
Okay.
And so really you have 3, 4, 5 days between each of those sections.
Yeah, and you're so right. Like you can get food pretty much anywhere.
Pretty much anywhere. Like every 10 miles you have a place to get food.
Dude,
That's pretty cool.
I would never be eating camping food. We'd be going to Whack Arnold's every night.
I mean, if I'm hiking 25 miles a day,
and in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it.
And I'm a big fan. Like when you're covering distance, when you're through hiking stuff, I don't like eating where you camp. It's different when you go out on a weekend trail. It's different when it's a social trail. When it's a week-long thing, you're with your buddies. Like that's all about the campsite.
Yeah.
And you set it up. You bring your chairs.
Yeah.
You bring your tents. You hang out. You make it about food. You make it about fun, and you bring some beer. You bring some whiskey. When you're on a through hike, when you're that kind of mentality where you're covering mileage, you have a goal of A to B. You don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's more about you wake up, and honestly, when you're hiking, you wake up early. I want to walk an hour or 2 before I eat.
Yeah.
And then you come to a water source and you cook your breakfast. Then you hike through the day. You come to a water source, you have your dinner. Then you hike a couple hours. Then you camp. That's the most efficient way to carry weight because you're not carrying your weight of breakfast and dinner from a water perspective. You know, and that's the best way to cover big distances.
Most efficient way.
Absolutely. And it's also the most comfortable, I think. And then when you're camping, you're not dealing with cooking smells for wildlife and other kind of things. So you typically don't have any issues with mini bears or big bears or anything like that.
The mini bears.
Mini bears. Raccoons. Porcupines.
The problem with this hot tent is you cook in the tent.
It's not a good bear country.
We were cooking
polar bear country.
We were cooking barbecue in it the other week because you just have this like cooking service, and we're like, this is not good for bears. But something you just brought up that I want to ask you about is what's the water availability like on this
Scioto?
So I'm not
like, are you going to be on the Scioto like with the homeless people filtering water?
I seriously hope not. So we'll see. So I know that a lot of the Rails and Trails bike paths do have water fountains and things in the way.
Right.
You have gas stations with soda fountains, and you can buy a bottle of Aquafina, or
that's true.
if they're, whatever. So again, I don't think I'm going to have to carry a lot of water weight. I'm going to have to get more into the micro of specific mileage.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're just talking about the food or the water you have to carry in a single day, that's just water weight.
Yeah.
Come on. You're carrying a gallon of water. Yeah. It's not that much.
That's true. That's true.
Especially when your kid is so light.
Watch you're going to pick like the hottest stretch of the summer to do this.
Well, the thing is, what I'm thinking about too is like in a lot of this, like your water's going to be runoff from like farmlands and stuff. Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah. It's kind of
gross,
kind of weird, gross stuff. But that's true of many hiking trails throughout the United States. Let's be honest.
No, totally true.
Yeah.
And
go to the Grayson Highlands with the pony piss pools. And all that
we've done that. Yeah. That's okay.
Or at New Mexico, kind of on a divide with the tross.
I've seen that. Yeah. Have you done? You've done
that, right?
No, so I just did the last couple miles of New Mexico into Colorado. So in Colorado, you don't have that issue, but in New Mexico...
How much of the CDT did you do?
A little over 500 miles.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, hold on a second. So you did it all through Colorado, right?
Correct.
So you definitely passed by the part where the lady saw the Sasquatch.
Okay. Ooh, we were all right. Yeah. Let's talk about this. All right. So first off, people watching, we cut this out as a clip on the Backcountry BSing channel.
Yes.
So when we were talking to Jeff Meldrum,
Dr. Meldrum,
My hero. But
I was like, Doctor, what is like the most? I was like, there's been so many people that have said they've had these like Bigfoot encounters. Like, what is the most credible in your eyes? And he's like, he told us a story. Do you remember where it was in Colorado? He wasn't specific. It was 2003. There was a woman who was an ex-lawyer who was on the Continental Divide Trail in Colorado. Did he tell us where it was in Colorado?
But you know what? Maybe we need to talk to Dr. Meldrum because he's like, oh, it was a few miles off the trail. You couldn't get to it.
Anyway, this woman who is an ex-lawyer or whatever was goat camping in the CDT in Colorado.
goat camping.
Yeah, she had some goats.
It's actually
pack goats.
it's actually
Like a
kind of
shepherd?
it's kind of like, no, it's like kind of a hot thing to do right now, like pack goats.
Oh,
Hey, you should bring some goats on the Ohio to Erie
what a
Trail.
llama.
Llama makes more sense.
Would be cool. Yeah.
Anyway, he was like, you can read all about. If you go watch our podcast with him, we have a clip where he talks about this. Her name was like Joan Davis. Anyway, it was in Colorado on the CDT, and this woman, she saw two.
Yeah.
Two Sasquatch.
Yeah. Is that Sasquatch?
Plural for Sasquatch.
Yeah. And he didn't say where it was in Colorado.
Well,
right?
He just said off the CDT in Colorado.
So this woman was hiking the CDT.
Yeah.
Okay, let's reach out to Joan Davis and let's go there.
Let's go there.
Go there. Like seriously, like I'm out in Colorado.
And she said too.
Like
Yeah.
Like as it like they were
She said
social beings.
The goats were restless. She comes out of her tent. One Sasquatch.
And it was
right
behind
there.
a tree like this.
And then the other one was back there. As well.
Interessante.
Yeah.
Now-
and they kind of looked at each
I'll show
other.
you this. I'll show you this.
And Meldrum said that the Sasquatch were kind of like interested, not from like I'm going to eat the goats, but like, what is that?
Yeah. I want to go to there.
Yes.
So there. Oh, the Z-Packs link. No, there. So there was they did a whole article on her.
Wow.
So it was in the Denver.
It was in like the Denver, not the Denver
Post?
No. It didn't get that much traction. It was not in a legitimate news outlet.
The Sasquatch Chronicle in the Evergreen. Yeah, my parents have a place there, and that exists. Go to the Sasquatch Outpost in Bailey, Colorado. They'll tell you all about it.
What was her name?
We'll have to go
Because
back on.
we Googled it like live with him, and they had like a police sketch artist meet with her, and it looked just like Chewbacca from Star Wars. Like, no joke.
Well, Chewbacca is basically a Sasquatch. Yeah, so let's be honest.
But it was funny because I pressed him. I was like, dude, you must have heard, like, of all these people, these counts, like, what is the most credible one? And it was because of this woman and like how credible she seemed.
Sure.
I just think it's real weird because I asked him, I said, like, did she give like coordinates, like roughly? And they're like, oh no, it was so far off the trail. Like and I was like, that's a little weird answer.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can get there.
Yeah. Like
mean, not
if she's walking there with a bunch of goats off of the CDT, like anybody can get
Sure.
there.
Sure.
So anyways, we need to figure this out.
Oh God, don't give me a paywall. I'm trying to bring this up on the screen here. Anyway, this relates to
Castle Rock,
Did you see any Bigfoot on your CDT hike?
I saw moose and marmots and pika.
Any
and
bears?
Elk. No bears on. I've
That's
seen
surprising.
bear. None on the CDT actually. I've seen them in Colorado, but none on that particular trek.
As a person that has strong ties to Colorado, how do you feel about the wolf reintroduction?
Let's go there.
Colorado.
Let's go
Yeah,
there.
I love it.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that. Good.
No, I'm a big fan. I naturally am inclinated toward wolves. I don't know. I also studied ecology in college and
Yeah.
bio, EPO,
First
And-
off, if people are asking if your whiskey or beer is available out of state or in the Dayton area,
I said
In Dayton, not so it's all local, but
Okay.
we can actually ship within Ohio.
Okay.
And we're going to start that service pretty soon for our beer. Our liquor, there's a recent law that was just signed in, and starting in April, we can start delivering directly to consumers full bottles of liquor,
Okay.
which is really cool. So DeWine signed that into effect soon. It's really hard to ship liquor interstate.
Yeah.
So sorry, at some point, maybe in the near future,
Okay.
states are starting to
You got to
loosen up on all
drive.
their
You
But,
got to
rules.
drive to Ohio.
Gary's asking, do they distribute in the Dayton area? Sounds like.
We don't distribute in the Dayton area. We're only in the greater
Okay.
Columbus
Sorry,
area,
Gary.
but Dayton is 45 minutes to an
Gary,
hour
come
away,
to Columbus,
so-
man.
Yeah, come on down.
Bring your
visit.
daughter. All right, sorry.
It sounded creepy. But,
It did sound really creepy. Happy birthday.
So, do you think the wolf population will have
back to wolves.
a negative effect on the Sasquatch in Colorado?
I mean, Sasquatch
Great question.
species might be impacted by the Canis lupus.
All right, so hey, first off, great scientific nomenclature for dogs, Canis lupus. It's true. Okay, let's talk about Bigfoot. So, like, personally, and I told Dr. Meldrum this, like, I'm not like a Bigfoot guy.
No.
But like, if you told me, like, if none of this Bigfoot stuff existed, and you told me if there was a scientific publication that came out and said, hey, we found a really isolated
Hominid.
species of hominid in like the Canadian Rockies that was
great.
closely related to like Homo habilis, or you're reading species, you know what I'm talking about.
Homo erectus.
Sapiens.
Hold on. Fun fact. Homo sapiens are not the most successful hominoid.
Correct. Anyway,
Homo erectus is.
Homo erectus.
2 million years.
if you told me that you would have found something like that, I'd be like, that makes total sense.
absolutely.
There are tribes of people in the Amazon who have been totally untouched. But the whole like sensationalism and like all the crazy people that do
there's a lot
Bigfoot
of crazy people.
have really kind of tainted it a little bit.
Did you say taint? Grundle, Sheaf on Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. It's the sort of deal where, does Bigfoot exist? I have no idea.
It's fun to think
Yeah.
about.
It's really fun.
It's super fun.
And it's a super fun joke.
Yeah.
And again, from a biological point of view, kind of like what you were saying, if there's a crypto hominid and potentially multiple crypto hominids, so multiple cultures have expressed legends and stories of
Have you read Meldrum's book?
You should.
I haven't.
It talks
I
about
want to.
this.
Very cool. So you go to the Yeti, you go to in Russia they call it something, in Mongolia something else, and in the United States Sasquatch, Sasquatch, big feet. Are those the same? Are they different, or are they actually simply stories and legends remembered as well? Is another possibility.
Yeah.
You talk about so Beowulf, right? If you guys know Michael Crichton, the writer of Jurassic
I've
Park.
seen it.
Have you seen
13 Warriors?
13th Warrior.
I read the book.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The Eaters of the Dead,
Yep.
right? And so the whole premise of that was that the Beowulf legend was Grendel was it was a clan of Neanderthal living simultaneously past when they were supposed to go extinct.
Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
Have you seen this?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Fantastic.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Just smiling now. Just smiling.
I'll explain it after he's done.
Kind of the concept that you could potentially have
Antonio
Neanderthal
Banderas fights a bunch of Neanderthals.
basically. Yes.
The concept is, and it's a super, and if you're reading Sapiens like you are, you're going to come across this.
No, I know about Neanderthals.
The concept is, and this is not a concept, it's been proven, and it's super trippy to think about, but there at a point in history, there were multiple species of humans that existed at the same time.
No, there was
Correct.
dozens of species
Which
of
is
humans.
crazy.
Absolutely. There was interbreeding.
That's the craziest thing.
So
Well, there's a little bit.
There's probably more.
No, I know there's probably, but like genetics show like 6% of our DNA comes from other like
Yeah, but that's just the people who
hominids.
survived.
and it depends
Yes,
on
yes,
different
true.
different people. So some
going
COVID
deep.
some COVID research.
Banging Neanderthals.
No, and Homo erectus and like Homo.
You
like
say
an orgy
banging
of all these
Yeah,
things.
banging Homo erectus.
Yes, Homo erectus
With the 6.9%.
Yeah. The
But
banana
like they all interbred, right?
I mean, to a point, like, and who knows? You know, so we have genetic data and we have archaeological data. We have all kinds of different stuff. The point being is that there was absolutely some interbreeding between Neanderthal and sapiens.
Yeah, there was. That's
sure.
proven.
Right.
That is proven.
That's out
genetically.
there right now.
And actually, some of the COVID research, some of the COVID research is actually
Really?
suggesting, and I don't know how proven this is. I don't know. It's still very much circumspect, but they're suggesting that a higher percentage of Neanderthal DNA, you might have a higher percentage of having severe COVID reaction.
Interesting.
in just natural antibodies or
Who the hell?
yeah.
I'm not going to pretend to know or understand.
well, I mean,
not sure anyone
well,
does.
I mean, one of the things that they attribute to Neanderthals is that way more physically
they're
tough,
bigger. They're bigger.
Physically tough.
They're bigger.
They're smaller groups, physically tougher, but I mean, there's a bunch of theories why sapiens became like more prominent.
Have you got to the pygmies yet?
A little
The
bit.
hobbits?
The little
Yeah,
guys?
a little bit.
Little
a little
guys
bit.
on the Mediterranean island?
Yeah, but it comes down to this whole thing of like Neanderthals were bigger, stronger.
Well, joke's on them.
Yeah.
We beat them out.
Yeah, but it all came down to this.
Brain capacity,
Yeah,
cranial capacity.
We bang their women.
Some of them.
It is weird to me. Like, I cannot fathom a time where there were multiple species of hominid.
There was like dozens. There was
Like,
dozens.
how weird is that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's something that's so natural to see in other species, like tons of species of birds, tons of species of reptiles, different species of bears. Like, that's something that's like so.
You want to know something?
We have primates.
You want to know something more
Tons of
crazy?
species of primates.
Is that some of these species of sapiens even traveled across oceans at the same time to go to Australia?
Crazy.
Nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And they were all banging each other.
Trading seashells with each other.
What else would you do on that raft?
Right? I don't know how we got to this topic of conversation.
Folks, you got to read Sapiens. It's life changing.
We're gonna make a beer with a depiction of a raft with sapiens banging each other.
It plays into like what is Bigfoot?
Yeah.
And the predominant theory is Bigfoot is one of these species of sapiens.
No, not sapiens. Primates.
That's right. Correct.
Yeah.
Of
Homo.
It's not a primate. I mean, it's a primate. It's like we're primates.
Australopithecus.
Yeah, like
something.
it's
to be fair, nobody knows.
No,
but
but it's a species like us that has remained.
It's a hominid,
hominid.
but not a sapien.
a bipedal hominid.
it's not a homo.
that has but like those forests of like the Canadian Rockies, like you don't know what's out there.
There's miles of nothing.
don't.
Yeah.
Now when he told me they're everywhere where black bear are, I'm
Yeah, I'm
like,
like,
dude,
no.
I'm like, we got black bear like 100 miles away from here. There's no Bigfoot. I mean, that's what he said. He's like, basically anywhere where there's black bear, you could have Bigfoot.
Get Meldrum on
And
Skype.
I'm like, dude,
Dumb.
I'm with you, but like we got black bear like 50 to 70 miles away from here, and there's we got Mothman.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe Mothman was
Mothman.
Yeah, maybe Mothman was a
Andy
bipedal
and I
hominid.
tell the story. First, we got to go backpacking. You got to come back.
absolutely.
I know we
Come in the hot tent.
way better. I know it's like
Sounds
15
awkward.
degrees outside, and like, we could fit you in there.
Nice.
No, we have, and we talked about this with Dr. Meldrum. We've heard some weird shit out there.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it on this podcast extensively. Have you heard anything?
I mean,
You got a lot more hiking experience than we do.
You definitely hear weird stuff.
And you've been places. So I asked Meldrum, I was like, dude, is the abominable snowman and Bigfoot the same thing? And he's like, yeah. And you've been places where they're potentially abominable snowmen.
Well, and And the way I kind of see that is like looking at it from a biological evolutionary point of view, you go to different continents that have been separated by time.
Yeah.
And you have different species that are similar, providing the same ecological niche.
Okay.
So you have marsupials in Australia,
Yeah.
you have, deer, and you have llamas or camels, or, wherever you're going, you have things that are similar, but slightly different biologically. And to me, if Sasquanoids exist, it's probably something like that. So the Yeti, the abominable snowman that's in Asia, is probably not exactly the same thing. That's the North American Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But it's probably a similar cryptid, hominid, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's probably evolved or existed separately from an ecological, because there's no way Sasquatch or Yeti are getting on an international flight and interbreeding. They've just been separated for thousands of years. If they exist, there's no way they're interbreeding and have become the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, the one that lives in Lake Vesuvius is a little interesting.
Have you been to Vesuvius? We got to take you there.
There's a Sasquatch there.
There's something that makes. I mean, so
You bang on trees.
So Lake Vesuvius is like
It's black bear
It's
country, kind of.
it's like 10 miles from where the Mothman is. Mothman Prophecies.
Okay, yeah.
And every time Andy and I go there, I mean, in reality, I think it's some sort of bird.
Yeah.
There's like
No,
the
it's-
craziest sound we hear at like 1 or 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like
Lake Vesuvius.
terrifying. Yeah, we talk about it every podcast. All right, next time I go, I'm bringing the microphone and I'm gonna record it.
We're gonna hit sticks on trees and everything.
It's terrifying, and I always think it's a Mothman, but I'm like, maybe it's a Fisher cat. That's what people seem to think it is, but I'm like,
Long Sea Voyage doesn't get boring from Brenton Jones. Depicted on the Viking saga here, Long Sea Voyage.
but actually, hey, can I get one of those?
Of course.
but it
You
is
want one?
in a second. It is crazy to think about though, with all these Homo species in the world. Some of
Thanks,
them were
sir.
traveling by sea at the same time.
I didn't
going
know
to
that.
Australia. It's insane.
Thank you, sir. I have I have the OG version of this. I had it.
Yeah.
This is the new version. You have a new can.
No, it's the.
Is it the same can?
The same soccer can. It's the edition, the second one. but
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break your thought there on the
No, they were They were Homo sapiens.
on the Sasquatches
yeah, they
making
were.
boats.
And there's also, according to the book, there's also evidence that like there were many times that Homo sapiens tried to infringe on like other types of homos areas,
I bet Sasquatch are just sightings
and
of
they
Canadians.
get pushed back.
It's fair. That's fair.
Well, no, because they're not wearing all denim.
All right, when you were on the CDT, what's the weirdest thing you've heard at night that you can't explain?
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure there was a whole lot. I have a funny story.
When you
so
okay,
my
all right,
buddy
let's hear the funny
Nick
story.
and I, we weren't on the CDT, but we were out in Colorado, just before my buddy John got married out there. And we went on the 5-pass loop kind of thing.
Okay, I know what that is.
You know, yeah,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And so we were camping under tarp first night, and Nick is a little weird about tarps, but I'm all
Okay,
about him. So
all
I
right.
made him camp on a tarp for this.
I like
for this
it.
trip, right?
I like tarp camping.
And so he wakes up at 11 o'clock midnight. He's like, dude, something's on my head. Like,
Oh, shit.
dude, you're just like whatever. I totally didn't believe him. I thought he was dreaming. Right. An hour later, something was licking me. No.
Licking me.
Yeah, no. I again thought he was dreaming. And at some point, third or fourth time he woke up, I had my headlamp ready and I shined the beam. And I saw a porcupine walking away.
Oh, really?
Like big old porcupine walking away from the tarp just after he had said something was licking my head.
Really?
Oh, porcupine was
Definitely.
licking.
Yes.
Why would a porcupine lick a
Salt.
human?
Salt.
Salt.
Probably
Yeah.
salt, And yeah, we were camping on like we just hiked in this first night. So kind of right there near a trailhead,
Okay.
more of an existing kind of place. And porcupine was licking his skull, basically.
That's a pretty good story.
Pretty funny. And then the best part is we got to the condo. We were renting for my buddy's wedding. There was a porcupine hedgehog boot scraper at the front.
Oh, nice.
I just looked at him, looked at that. He just said, F you, Scott. Walked in the door.
All right. So in all of your outdoors journeys, let's say not the CDT because you've done more. Is there anything super weird that has happened to you that you can't explain? You spent a lot of time outside.
Was there tree knocking?
UFOs?
I mean,
Rocks thrown at you? Pine cones?
Anything?
I've never seen anything super weird like that. To be
Really?
honest, I wish I had. I wish I could say that, but I guess I'm a pretty rational guy all in all. And if there's something happening, I'm like, I'm not jumping to weird conclusions. I'm just saying I want Sasquatch to believe.
Yeah.
I want him to exist, but I don't know that I do, you know.
Hey, I'm with you. It's fun to talk about.
For sure.
I told Meldrum this last week. I'm like, listen, regardless of anything, with the propagation of people having HD cameras on their phones,
it's time.
We're gonna see it.
Yeah.
Like this woman in Colorado. I was like, when did this happen? He's like 2003. I'm like,
before
camera phones were like really like propagated, and I'm like, if it does exist, we're gonna see it. So
BCP. Before camera phones.
And by the way, like after that podcast,
isn't that good?
We got
black licorice.
We got hit up.
Some star anise and sage. Yeah.
We got hit up on Instagram with somebody sent us some pictures.
Oh, dude, email that to me. All right, we should bring that up. We discussed this at the bar. So okay, so if you're listening to this, you don't know what we're talking about. Last week, check it out. We had Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who is a Bigfoot guy. Yeah, right. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There's a bathroom right there, man. It's the studio. Scott, don't rip out any of those cords. All right, so we had a Bigfoot expert here.
Yeah.
And he was really good. Check it out. But after that, one of our listeners, sent us a DM on Instagram. And would you like to explain? Did you email it to me?
Yeah, I emailed it to you.
I'll bring it up on the screen while you explain.
I don't want to say the name of the person.
That's fine.
But it might be up there on the picture.
Okay. I'll try to crop it out.
But this person works in the forestry industry. I think they're a logger in Oregon, I think.
Did you send it to which?
I texted it to you.
Oh, you texted me. Okay. You're good.
So this person works in the forestry industry. I think that they were a logger in Oregon, and they noticed one morning when they came to the site. I think he explained it was like 500 yards of tracks down a forest road, remote forest road, and they called in biologists and everything. And the biologists, according to the story,
hold on, let's before we go anymore here. Sorry, everybody, you're gonna have to crop this. You're gonna have to you have to crop it. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna pull it up on the screen now. So, all right. Nope. That okay. There you go. All right. What are we looking at?
So. According to this person, these tracks were about 500 yards long, down a road.
Like 500 yards of subsequent tracks.
Of tracks. Okay. Down a forest road in the middle of Oregon where logging was being done. And they called in experts to kind of analyze them. Like, I think they were people from like a university. And of course, no typical with like.
Do we have a time frame for this?
I don't, unfortunately.
I mean, this. At first, when you showed me this, I was like, "Oh, it's a bear." But it's way too long to be a bear.
I do know.
You got Scott.
In the DM, they said that person, that shoe is an 11-foot shoe.
I mean, size 11
shoe.
11-foot
shoe.
I was like, that's a big shoe. Sorry,
this bourbon and the whiskey.
It's a size 11 shoe.
Size 11 shoe.
Okay.
And I think according to the conversation, the biologist or whoever analyzed it said that they couldn't conclusively say that this was like some type of animal or bear or anything like that.
Did you like my squatty potty I have in there?
I didn't even know.
Did you notice that? No. Do you know what squatty potty is? Anyway.
Google it.
It's in there.
So Scott, is this a Bigfoot?
It is a big foot.
Yes. Fair.
Okay, let's look at this analytically.
Sure.
Clearly, so bear prints are much shorter,
Right.
and squatter.
Yeah. I mean, you could have a big wide bear print like that. But
Yeah, but bear prints are not this long.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
no, that doesn't
if we have to look at toes, I mean, I don't know what
Yeah.
this is.
I mean, my thought is the toes are so well
Yeah.
defined.
You think
Right.
is someone
It's
playing?
kind of sketchy. Like, I don't know. Maybe not, but
We'll get Mel.
Why?
to talk
Okay,
here.
here's the next question.
I'm
Why-
not a bipedal
Why
anthropologist.
is
specializing
all of
in-
this
yeah.
stuff happening in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah.
Like all the Bigfoot stuff, like historically,
And
has always been Pacific Northwest. What's that about?
yeah, I don't get that either. It's just remoteness, I guess.
Like, why wouldn't they be in Canadian Rockies? Like they're all in the
yeah.
Canada. They're all in the PNW, right? I mean, like that's where Meldrum's research has been.
He's in like Idaho, like
Idaho,
west.
Yeah.
He said wherever there's black bears.
It's true.
We got those in Tennessee, buddy.
Yeah. Connecticut, New Jersey.
All right, what's the craziest animal encounter you've had on trail?
Me?
Oh, Scott.
I mean, the craziest is probably the cutest I've ever had too. So it
Okay.
was on the CDT, and I was coming up kind of southwest Colorado. I was Sangre de Cristo is a little bit northeast of there, and walking on the trail, and there was just a marmot
they're pretty cute.
sitting like this, just in a bed of rocks, just sitting there
Just
like
splay,
he was
like full
lounging, spread eagle, just like he was in a Barca Lounger recliner, like whatever, just hanging out there. And I mean, this was in 2000, I don't know, 2003, 2002, something like that. So I had my point and click like disposable camera.
nice,
like there was
nice.
no such thing. I didn't have a cell phone or a GPS on me. GPS at the time didn't have a map on the screen. It was like it gave you a coordinate.
So no record of this.
No. So I was like literally trying to get my camera out. He was just watching me. And I'm literally like as close to you as I was to this marmot who's sitting on the side of the trail, just sitting there. And just as I got the camera out, he popped over and ran away. Always. Every time.
That's what everybody says
how it
about
happens.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
No bears, no bear encounters.
No, I mean I've definitely seen some,
But
some
not-
bear
not
and
out in
some
the-
moose. Moose are far scarier than bears.
Yes,
are.
agreed. Agreed.
100% agree.
100%.
They're far more dangerous.
Yes.
Crazy. I saw snow leopard tracks
Whoa.
in the Himalaya. Tracks, not the animal, but they crossed our path. We'd gone and we
That's
came
pretty
back,
cool.
and they crossed our path, and they weren't there to begin with.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was
that's very
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's
very
cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see cool stuff out there.
That's pretty cool. Snow leopard is like
I-
National Geographic.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, they're one of the most unseen
Yeah.
animals out there,
that's pretty cool.
aside from Bigfoot.
Ours are like deer.
Yeah.
We've seen bear backpacking.
Yeah.
We've seen some cool deer.
Some mule deer.
I've-
deer.
We did
We've
see
seen
some
mule deer
Yeah, in Colorado.
In Colorado, we had elk bugling, which was very cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
We've seen moose backpacking in Wyoming,
Yep.
which is very scary.
Yes,
Totally.
very. That
At a
freaked
distance,
me
they're,
out. Yeah.
they're gorgeous at a distance, but
They're big, dude. They're
huge.
big.
Huge.
I mean, I've never. So
Little
our
legs.
I know little stick legs. They're ungulates.
Yeah.
So
Flamingos.
our first interaction with moose.
This is a messed up story.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. So this was 2009. Andy and I were in Wyoming backpacking, and this was our first time doing like a legit backpacking trip.
This was my first time backpacking.
So it's like my second or third time.
Yeah.
And we were in Wyoming. We were in the Bighorn Mountains of Wyoming, which is eastern Wyoming.
Nice.
And we were going up there, and we saw a sow with infants, which I didn't know at the time. So we were with a dude from Wyoming, and he was like, "Dude, this is the most dangerous thing you could do with the moose." And I didn't know
We were pretty far away.
we were very far away. We were taking pictures and stuff. And he was like, "This is by far the most dangerous type of moose encounter you can have is with a mom and a baby." And we're like, "Cool." whatever.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's go. So we go up there. We're in the Bighorn Mountains for a few days, and I don't think we ever saw any moose when we were up in there.
No, we saw the bull moose going up.
We saw a bull moose going up. So then we're on like night 2 or night 3, and the buddy we were with from Wyoming, he had to tap out a day early. He's like, hey, I got to go back to the car. And we're like, yeah, all good. And he tried to go, this was a 9-mile hike up the mountains from the parking lot. And he tried to hike down that night, and there was that same bull moose standing in the trail that charged him. And so he came back to camp and scared the shit out of us. And
he's like, I can't get down.
It's like 11:30. He's like, I can't go down the mountain. He's like, I can't. Like, I tried to like walk around it. He's like, the bull moose was having none of it.
Yeah.
And so he had to come back up the mountain and stay an extra night because there was some bull moose. And we never encountered that, but that's like the scariest moose encounter I've heard firsthand.
Yeah. And then when we were on Isle Royal, they were everywhere, but we never saw them. We never saw them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, so my wife, when I was on Denali, she went back down to Anchorage, known as Ancaragua.
That's what they call it there?
I mean,
get out of here. Really?
I think it's kind of funny. I heard someone call it Ancaragua. It's pretty awesome because Anchorage is kind of a dumpy little town.
Yeah.
Alaska is amazing.
There's moose everywhere.
Anchorage, kind of Ancaragua.
Really?
Yeah. But she picked up a couple of people for her mountaineering class, and there was a moose, like downtown loose.
They're like everywhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In
Yeah.
Anchorage. And like,
Even in Montana.
they were like, it was like hitting a car and some shit. I mean, they were like they're basically fleeing in a car from a raging moose in downtown Ancaragua. You know, kind of crazy.
That's how it is in Montana. Like certain towns in Montana, that's just like you're just like at the stop sign,
wandering to
going to 7-Eleven, and there's a freaking moose there.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you've never seen a moose,
Scary.
They're
Huge.
so big.
Yeah.
They're so big. I mean, bigger than elk.
bigger than
Obviously bigger
Sasquatch. Yeah,
I mean, they're so freaking big.
so big. Yeah.
And like I didn't realize at the time when we saw one, because like the female moose are obviously slightly smaller, and they don't have massive
the
racks.
huge racks. Yeah.
So when you see a female, you're like, oh yeah, the cute little moose, and you're like, no, bitch, those things will kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I did an 8-day canoe trip in Ontario.
That's right.
In every bend we went around on a canoe, there was moose everywhere. Yeah, bull moose in the river feeding. Luckily, it was like July, so not even near the rut, but they weren't defensive or anything. But we saw female moose with calves and everything. It was amazing, but they are dangerous.
Yeah.
They're
aggressive.
like statistically like one of the most dangerous things you can encounter, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like moose in North America are like hippos in Africa.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
everyone thinks about
Yeah.
lions and
Yeah.
stuff. But no, it's hippos are the most dangerous animal in Africa.
Yeah.
And moose are the most dangerous animal
So big.
in the wild in North America. It's crazy.
Oh my God, they're so big.
It's funny. I think the craziest animal encounter I've ever had on an adventure though is a little weird. So
Good.
Can't wait to hear this.
I had so my wife and I were dating, right? So before we were married, and I went down to climb Aconcagua. This was 2013-ish, 14, whatever that was. And she came down. We were planning for her to come down and meet me in Mendoza when I finished up. And we're going to go back over to Chile and spend some time with some friends of mine and all this stuff. And I met this dude, Rolo.
Shout out to Rolo.
Rolo in Mendoza, Argentina. I think we're friends on Facebook. He just opened up a mountain bike shop. So go visit Rolo's mountain bike shop in Mendoza, Argentina. He's awesome. At the time, he was guiding after Aconcagua. He was guiding some horse tours.
Okay.
Where you could ride a horse across the Andes.
Oh, that's badass.
And so literally I got back down to Santiago, or back down to Mendoza after Aconcagua, and Meg was flying in a day or two. Because, you never know exactly how long it's going to take. And I was like, hey, any chance you would want to, I know you like horses, like you grew up riding some horses. Instead of grabbing that cheap flight back across the Andes. Would you want to ride horses across the Andes? And she's like, oh my God, yes,
That's
amazing,
badass.
amazing,
That's
amazing.
sweet.
So I booked a trip, and we for 4 days rode horses from Mendoza, Argentina,
That's pretty
to
sweet.
Santiago, Chile, across the Andes. When we were leaving in Santiago, it was awesome because the guy had never seen someone who arrived into the country on a visa
Oh, really?
at a random station in the middle of the mountains where horses
Wow.
went through. You know, it's really, really funny. But as we were going up this one pass, they had some late snow that they never had snow on this one pass. And then we got up there and it was just all snowed in. We're riding horses and we had this pack mule with us. And as we were walking up, we got off the horses and we were walking up, and this mule that was carrying all of our stuff slipped
Oh, shit.
and like fell over
Oh no.
backwards,
Really?
somersaulting and threw stuff every which way, you know, and just like, and then the mule was just laying there, and like I thought the thing was
it dead?
no, it ended up being fine, but it lay there for a while, and we were just sitting there for like an hour and like gathering stuff and
Wow.
awesome things. But I mean, it's weird that like the craziest encounters with animals are like
Something
that,
like that.
sort of
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
like, in Aconcagua, mules are helping carrying stuff up, and they're assholes. Basically, they're just total jerks, and like
Yeah.
that sort of thing is the worst experience.
Yeah.
And people are the worst.
Yeah,
so
it's like
that
weird. That was
dudes.
a next question for you, because like when we're out backpacking, I mean, granted it's Ohio, but like the most dangerous animal is the human.
Totally.
Have you had any sketchy human encounters?
Oh my god.
There's some funny comments in here.
Yeah. Any comments we should address?
I think you three should shotgun some of that 69 beer.
Shotgun. Cannonball.
Yeah, what are your weird
What
ass
are
human-
some? We got some
okay,
sketchy
so
human
the-
encounters.
The weirdest human encounter I think I've ever had was out in actually not far out of Leadville, Colorado, where your favorite Melly hoodies
Yeah.
are
Oh,
from.
I never showed you.
Oh
the
my
me-
god!
Yeah, I
Oh
never
yeah,
showed
get
you
your
the
Melly.
Melly,
I've
the
got my
Melly.
Mellies
Yeah.
too. Got another one on the way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. I
Yeah.
hope you're watching. Anywho, so I was out there. Oh man, this was years ago, and it was my buddy Mike, who also went to Colorado, and there were two guys, John and Sam, who'd never done like any hiking,
Yeah.
like any real Colorado kind of hiking. So we're like, oh, let's pop up a 14er. So we took him to like Mount Huron, which is like 14,000, like I don't know, 14,006 feet or 40. It's
Yeah.
like it's literally just over 14,000. 6 mile round trip trail, no big deal. It's like, okay, you're in shape.
Yeah.
You can get up this thing.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go for a little day hike. We pop up Huron. Awesome time. We're coming down, and as we're coming down this trail, there's a dude, probably mid-20s, in like black short shorts and running shoes. Nothing else.
Okay.
No shirt,
No shirt?
no backpack,
Okay.
no water that you can see.
Interesting.
Short shorts, like 5-inch inseam,
Interesting
maybe 3-inch
strategy.
inseam.
Was it like a trail runner?
Oh, 3-inch
And-
inseam.
Oh, wow.
3-inch
A-
inseam is some nut huggers.
And a full-on Glock sidearm
What?
strapped to his hip.
What? Where is this again?
This was on Mount Huron in Colorado.
So this is a dude in nut huggers and a Glock.
Yes. And nothing, like no water, no food, no backpack, no hat, no sunscreen, no nothing. Running shoes, short black shorts, and a Glock on his hip.
Wow.
And just like crazy eyes. Like had a big beard.
Yeah.
Just like, like the
Sounds
big
like an ultra
black
runner.
beard.
Yeah,
I,
it sounds
yeah,
like
I,
an
I know,
ultra
right?
With
And-
a Glock, though?
Yeah, I don't know.
and just
That's
crazy
weird.
eyes. And like we were like having fun and talking and singing
Yeah.
songs, like crossing paths with other people, and you say
Yeah.
hi, it's all social. It was just this awkward silence of passing. And you're like, are we far enough? Are we far enough away? What
Oh,
the
that's
hell was up with
creepy.
that guy? What did
That's
you
creepy.
It was so weird.
That's
I
creepy.
don't know. Yeah.
That is weird.
Okay, that's pretty creepy.
We've
That was the
seen
creepiest thing.
some
Get ready to see people carrying when you're on the Ohio to Erie Trail.
yeah,
sure,
yeah. Those
I
will be the
will.
farmers coming
Yeah.
out to their land, be like, "Why are you?"
I've
camping
never
here?"
seen a greater percentage of people carrying firearms than backpacking in Ohio.
That is actually true.
Backpacking in Ohio, almost every single time I see people carrying firearms, and Andy and I do not carry firearms.
And I'm not against it.
Not that we're against that, but we do not.
But here's a weird thing. It's like at Zaleski, I've seen a bunch of open carry.
Yeah.
And
At Lake Vesuvius, I've seen open carry.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm not against it, but
it's kind of weird to see it first.
It throws me off a little bit.
I would be more weirded out seeing that in a place like Colorado.
Trail runner with a Glock with shorty shorts. At least have a shirt and a Glock.
14er. You know, it's
so
sort of
weird.
like
so weird.
I could almost expect something like on a trek, like what I'm talking about in this summer.
Yeah.
Like carrying a small, you know what I mean? That would actually make more sense. We have humans.
Correct.
Yeah, but no grizzlies in Colorado.
Bear spray is far more effective than a firearm.
Yeah.
For bears, you know, and moose, nothing's effective. So you just get out of their way. There's no wilderness reason to have a firearm. Now, if you're going to crazy story. So my buddy Caleb, good buddy of mine from middle school, high school, lives in Juneau, Alaska. So after climbing Rainier, flew up there, hung out with him. We went out to his like family's and friends' place that there's no roads to. You have to take a plane to a canning station and then skiff and it's crazy. It's up next to Glacier Bay National Park. It's amazing, out of the middle of nowhere. And so we chartered the plane to get out there because myself, him, and his wife or fiance at the time, whatever, we flew out there. With 3 people, it was cheaper to take a charter flight. We took the mail plane back because she came back by herself. We spent a few days out there fishing for crabs and halibut, and just like. But as we were loading up for this charter flight out there, the lady checking us in, this young woman, was like, "Do you guys have a firearm with you?" And Caleb was like, "Yeah, we've got a 44." Good. Yeah. It's like, just check the box. Yes, you have that with you.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense. We're going to the middle of nowhere, Alaska. Yeah. And, we've got stuff. We're not worried about weight. We're getting dropped off, Right. Yes. 100% have a revolver, have a rifle, have that kind of stuff with you. That totally makes sense in that rural setting. Backpacking in Zaleski,
all those Boy Scouts.
I know.
Dude, have you seen those Boy Scouts?
Oh man, yeah.
I have. Yeah, I've seen more people carrying firearms in Ohio than I've seen in.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not opposed to it.
I always
it just throws me off.
I always talk to Andy. I'm like, if we were doing some sort of like trip in like backwoods Montana,
where you need your axe,
dude,
like
I tell him
you might need a revolver. You might need a rifle.
I was telling him, I'm like, when we were going out, I'm like. One of these bears gonna check me with this axe, man. I was like, at least with the axe, I got something. But like going out into Montana, like I can see it.
Zaleski.
For sure. No. Yeah. You walk 5 miles in any direction in Zaleski, you're out of road.
But having said that, there's some weird people. There's some weird people.
Yeah, and the thing, and the counter argument is that the most dangerous thing is humans. Not animals.
100%. Statistically, 100%. Yeah,
100%.
And that's creepy. But then again, I'm like, you could bear spray a person.
Yeah.
Gun's way lighter though. Yeah, I know, right?
Then bear spray.
I know. I've never. I don't know if we went to Montana, like a canoe trip or something. I'd like throw a shotgun in there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It would just depend. But even like if you're making the argument. And I'm just going off of, and I got to be real careful because we're going down a
going down a Second Amendment hole here.
We're going down a
rabbit hole whiskey.
Yeah.
You want to finish this
off? It's really good.
Super. It's expensive.
I've had it. It's good. Yeah.
Finish that off.
I was just saying
that
we're going down
too big.
We're going down a rabbit hole, so we might as well drink the rabbit hole whiskey. Right?
Finish that.
Here. Pour this.
It's a finished whiskey.
It's really good. This bottle's too big. Yeah, you just
okay. So here's my rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah. What limited data is available when it comes to bears is that bear spray is more effective than firearms. What limited data is available? So even if you're
True.
going to like a crazy area with grizzly bears, one might make an argument that bear spray might be more effective than firearms.
I think that's absolutely.
Yeah. So
Here's my counterpoint to that.
no, and I'm not.
So
taking
first
that
off,
side.
statistically, that is correct.
Right.
If you look at all the interactions between people and bears
that are reported.
right. I think people have more success with bear spray.
Sure.
So that makes total sense.
But probably more people carry bear spray than firearms. So
100%.
so like it's biased.
Here's my counterpoint.
I'm
If a bear wants to eat you,
Yeah,
bear spray ain't stopping that
No,
bear.
I agree. I'm packing.
Now, the vast majority of time a bear is attacking a human, it's not because that bear wants to eat that human.
But the other counterpoint would be the bear that wants to eat you is not your small black bear.
No.
Greg, it's a big bear.
What is the firearm that's going to be effective
Correct.
versus
Very,
that
very no.
bear?
And this brings up a whole great conversation of what is the best firearm to carry against a bear. That's a way more fun conversation.
Well, I love this conversation.
Because I'm like, I want a shotgun with deer slugs.
No. I want.
Because you're right,
semi-auto.
44 Magnum.
Yeah, you're right.
With bear rounds.
Yeah,
in
right.
there.
Yeah. The vast majority of people carrying pistols, yeah, right. Like a 44 Magnum is probably the only pistol, right? That's going to be good against a large.
No. You're going down a big rabbit hole right now.
I just want a shotgun.
No. I want a semi-auto, high caliber rifle or
44
pistol.
Magnum. So when you were in Alaska, that was like you got
Their sidearm.
like
is the
44 Magnum was like,
I've seen-
check.
I've seen some of those shows where like those like flying guides, like they're carrying 9mm. I was like, okay, come on. Like,
Hey,
what are
they've
you
killed
doing?
bears with 9mm.
I know, but if I'm a private pilot in grizzly country, and
I'm carrying
like,
a shotgun.
No, I'm carrying something big.
Yeah. I will first say I don't want to kill a bear.
No,
like they're
nobody wants to
majestic creatures.
Yeah.
Like you
No,
don't
but
like
if it was
them.
trying to kill you, you would kill it.
yeah.
It's got to go.
Well, it's gotta go.
I mean, come on.
44 Magnum seems like a good choice.
Listen, I think bears are an appropriate part of the ecosystem,
Absolutely.
and but if I dwindle a little bit from the ecologist when I say like F bears, and like if we want to exist in the same area as bears, they're going to challenge us as predators.
That's why California killed all the grizzlies.
And when it
Colorado,
comes,
too.
yeah, same.
Pushed them out.
Yeah.
Where there's people, there aren't grizzlies.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, because they're too aggressive to live side by side, and it's sad. And I think that a lot of times when the bear is a problem, it's largely a problem of human encroachment. You know, and that's a sadder, larger, bigger picture conversation. It doesn't do a lot for the individual who comes across a bear who's trying to eat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the sad reality of those bears. If it's not a grizzly in a completely wild circumstance like Canadian Rockies or Alaska, it's because that bear has been conditioned by humans in campgrounds and parking lots and leaving food out.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's when you leave your food and you're not responsible with your food backpacking, you're killing bears.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is
100%.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to say that.
Yeah.
And that is humans. That is crap. We shouldn't be doing that. Now, that's not rural Alaska. In grizzly territory where you're invading.
what you're describing is 99% of bear interactions with humans.
Precisely.
And so I talked to Andy about this. So like last year, Andy and I ate some bear meat. There's a point to this story. And we were super paranoid about a parasite called trichinosis.
Yeah, bacon, trichinosis.
Right.
Yeah.
So the point of the story is I was like, okay, how many bears have trichinosis? And there were some good research studies. The point of all this is when they sampled like most of the bears in the eastern United States, which is not grizzlies,
Sure.
like 40% of their diet was garbage.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not doing these bears any favors.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's insane. Like, that is, and like, our sister lives in Lake Tahoe, and straight up, we get like gas station camera footage.
Oh, yeah.
Left and right
Of
of
bears
like,
going into gas.
massive. And like, these aren't like, Smokey the Bears, like Eastern bears. These are like 500-pound black bears in a freaking 7-Eleven.
Yeah. At the get-go.
Like literally. And like, if you think I'm joking, like I'm not. It's like,
know.
imagine a bear in a grocery store and they're like eating candy bars and stuff. And then they have to kill these bears.
Yeah.
You know? And that's
Because
sad.
once they learn that trick,
Yeah.
there's no untraded.
And like, I thought we've gone down to the Smokies, and in the Smokies, the human bear interaction is not good there.
Yeah,
it's like what
not
you
at all.
described with
Yeah,
campground.
absolutely.
But dude, Lake Tahoe, they're like going into restaurants
I know.
and grocery stores.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I saw that, and it's like insane to me.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's sad.
It's very sad. And they're big, man. Like,
So-
I was going to get gas, dude. I'm like, see it, man.
Take my car.
So to answer the age-old question, then, what caliber is best for bear?
I don't know, man.
Do we have any responses on the line?
It is
there's
sad,
some
though.
44.
It's sad.
There's
44,
It's
yeah.
12
Sad.
gauge. Yeah.
I'm with the 12 gauge crowd. But it is sad. I'm with you in that aspect.
Yeah.
Like, I fully agree. There is a part of the ecosystem they deserve to be in,
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, absolutely.
and they're naturally a part of it. But in
Their space.
right, correct. And we're in their space.
Yeah.
You could make that argument. But it's just there's just some messy encounters.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
good.
so Scott, you're flying to middle of Alaska to do like a little fishing trip.
What do you pack?
What caliber are you taking?
What caliber I take? I think, a revolver
Yeah.
and a 44. I mean, because revolvers gumlet. If you're in the wilderness,
You're talking about the jamming issue.
Have you seen grizzly in the wild?
No.
Okay.
I've never seen a grizzly in the wild. Only at zoos and
Yeah.
videos and things like that.
Yeah.
I've seen black bear,
Okay.
but not grizzly.
Have you seen what's the right word? Like, have you seen signs of grizzly, like scat or prints? Because you've been in Alaska.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Seen in Canadian Rockies,
Yeah.
up by Jasper and the whole that area up through there and Montana, but never inside. I mean, largely too, bears, they stay out of our way.
They do not. They don't
want to have anything to do with you
Correct.
if they know you're coming.
Correct.
So you just have to be smart in bear country.
Yeah.
You know? And I've actually, I don't think I've ever seen a bear on a trail. I've seen them on roads. I've seen them. You know what I mean?
See them like doing touristy things.
Of course,
Yeah.
you know, and like I've seen a lot on roads. Like you come in, the bear's crossing a road.
Yeah.
It's right there. You know, that kind of thing. But I don't think I've ever seen one on a trail.
Do you know?
That's the only time we've ever seen our one.
I've seen him in the Smoky Mountains.
No, I mean
not
like wild
backpacking.
backpacking.
Yeah.
Sure,
We saw him in Virginia, down in Grayson Highlands area,
Yeah.
actually. Do you know what an Ursac is?
Yes, I
So
have.
I have one.
The Ursac minor, which is for mini bears, the like yellow one. You know,
Yeah.
it's for the raccoons and the
Yeah.
squirrels and the chipmunks.
I have an actual. When I was out in Lake
Nice.
Tahoe, where the black bears are big,
Yeah.
that's the first time I've actually ever used one.
Sweet.
And then they do recommend also a bear canister, but
Yeah.
I didn't go that hardcore.
I have a bear canister out in
Oh.
Colorado that I've barely ever used.
Yeah.
You know, and we had it in the truck for when we were camping and we're through the Canadian Rockies and
Yeah.
Montana and
Yeah.
things like that, basically. Yeah, and I like that. But I think a big part of bear country protocol is, again, not camping where you cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge. You
In
know?
Montana, that's basically
Yeah.
what you have to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, and you cook and then you walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you camp. And if you put your food and your things in sealed
Yeah.
bags that are odor resistant and Ursac kind of stuff, and you separate them from where you're sleeping, you're not going to have many issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not staying in established campgrounds.
Yeah.
It's established campgrounds where you're cooking, where you sleep. That's the issue.
That's
Yeah.
all glacier.
Yeah. And in national parks, the problem is you can't camp where it's not an established
Right.
campground.
I know. Right.
You know,
right.
so you're
right.
like,
right.
"Ugh." So Yellowstone Glacier and
Right.
these places where it's actually an
Right.
issue, you can't camp. You're not supposed to camp where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the real issue.
I love bears, but I also hate them.
Yeah, they're so majestic.
They're very majestic.
And it was finally cool to see one while backpacking, even though it caught me off guard a little bit. But
yeah, it was very like it was like
there's
a black bear running away from us.
Oh, look, there's
Classic.
a black bear
Yeah.
sprinting as fast as it possibly could away from us.
Classic. And now I don't know how I'd react seeing a grizzly. I'd be like, oh shit,
Oh shit!
all right, we're going this way.
Very still.
Yeah. And we have generally carried bear spray. I mean, there's this. I mean, we have
absolutely.
We have bear spray. So
You know, someone commented too on the video that we just released, the most hated items.
Yeah.
And somebody commented in there, which I thought was very valid, that in general, hated items include bear spray.
Yeah, a lot of people hate on carrying bear spray. To those people, F off. It's a small price to pay to have a positive encounter with the bear, a non-lethal encounter, and an interaction with a bear that teaches that bear to stay away from humans.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're in high risk areas.
Yeah. So like
Carry it.
Smokies, we carried it. We carried it in Grayson Highlands,
Cranberry,
and Cranberry, and Lake Tahoe, where they're going into convenience stores. We carried it.
Sure.
I think it's fair to carry it there.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree, and especially in grizzly prone areas like black bears, take it or leave it. I mean, the concept of a lethal encounter.
They kill people, Scott.
Have you ever seen that one video or that
That one video?
Scott, they drag people out of hammocks by their face. It's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with you though. Black bears aren't like normally.
Not generally.
Correct.
There's always the exception to the rule. But if you're going into Canadian Rockies, Montana, Yellowstone, like Alaska, the places there, carry the bear spray.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It's better for the bears. It's better for humans. It's better for everything. That's your safest eventuality. Also, there's a lot of places, like if you're up around the Jasper area, if you're up in Canadian Rockies, they require you to go out with 4 people.
Really?
Yeah,
really? I didn't know that.
Statistically, if you're in a party of 4 or greater, you're not going to encounter a bear.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because the bear hears the group
I didn't know
coming.
this was a regulation.
And it's a regulation in a lot of
That's
areas.
a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so that's a point where if you're with more people,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's better. But again, if you're going off by yourself, a lot of times when those kind of attacks exist, it's a single person,
Right.
by him or herself,
Right.
off, isolated, and that's when it happens.
Yeah.
So have that bear cast.
I didn't know about the 4-person.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
know
a
about
really
that.
good idea.
Yeah.
Because that's something like when we're out, we're always backpacking with like Andy and I and a couple other dudes, and I'm like, I'm not worried about it. Like if push came to shove, we could take a bear down.
Not
That's what
Especially
it's all about.
if I've got the Grand First Brook with me.
the forest axe.
Yeah. Like if it's 3 dudes with the forest axe, we're good. We're eating bear.
Yeah, we're all dead.
The other red meat.
No, I mean, if there are 4 of us, we could like.
What kind of bear?
A black bear.
A small black bear?
Like a 300-pound black
He's
bear.
running away.
4 of
For
us?
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wait, 4 of us?
4 dudes and a forest axe.
One forest
So it did
axe?
correct.
With
In
4 dudes.
But we all have trekking poles.
In the Adirondacks, I did chase a black bear away from our bear bags.
All right,
Yes.
Scott. Do you think? All right, but we're out there. Okay, we all have trekking poles, and there's 1 forest axe. If a bear is like wants to kill us, you think we're good? We're good, right?
One forest axe and a forest axe.
Yeah.
And how many trekking poles?
We have 6 trekking poles.
trekking poles.
So we have 6 trekking poles and a forest
Wielded
axe.
between 3 people,
Yes.
though.
And
Okay.
it's a 300-pound black bear.
So
No way.
2 of us outweigh
We're
that black
sprinting.
bear.
No, so okay.
2 of us outweigh that black bear.
So
let's be honest.
a 300-pound black bear is a large
That's
black
a
bear.
big ass black bear.
That is a black bear that's standing probably 5 to 6 feet up. Okay, so I'm saying, I'm like, let's give the bear some credit. It's not a small bear, but there's 3 of us and an axe. Like, right? We're gonna be okay.
We're going to be fine.
We're gonna be fine. Like, even if that thing comes at us.
But you got to take that out of your pack. You got to take off the
okay,
leather shit.
okay. I'm saying we're prepared. Like it's
So you're
literally
ready to go.
It's literally the three of us like this, and a 6-foot black bear is coming
We're
at us.
prepared.
We're gonna be fine.
Dad joke.
Yeah.
Dad joke.
So the take home is just carry an axe instead of bear spray. You'll be fine.
Right.
No, please don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do
that's
that.
dumb.
No, and I agree. I don't, with a black bear, I don't think there's
Yeah, no,
They're running
high
away.
chance of that
the
happening.
issues of black bears are minuscule.
But
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
easy there.
All right,
That-
200-pound grizzly.
It's a baby?
Well,
Yeah.
200 pounds.
I mean,
Okay, 300-pound grizzly.
grizzlies are like thousands of pounds,
Right.
right?
So
Like,
say a 300-pound, a juvenile male grizzly that wants to kill us.
No, we got to stand our ground.
We got
to get the forest axe.
All right, we
and
have 3
trekking poles.
dudes. Okay, we have 3 dudes, 6 trekking poles, a forest axe, and a can of bear spray.
We're okay there.
No. So we use the bear spray and they don't turn back, but the bear is kind of like, all right, now it's us against the bear and an axe. Are we good?
A couple of us are getting wounded.
That's a given.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get mauled in some capacity.
We might survive.
I think we're good.
Depends.
We can stab it with the trekking poles.
No, it depends. Someone's got to land a good shot with the forest axe.
Dude, it just takes one swing with the forest axe, and I think it's gonna slow down. Come on. I want a park ranger to weigh in. And what else? Okay, what
do
else
we have on the line?
So,
Can I comment on
so
this?
okay, in a backpacking situation, what else do we have at our disposal to handle
Trusty
it?
Swiss Army classic.
Okay,
The scissors are super nice.
Scott's got a Swiss Army knife.
You've got
Classic.
I've got the
axe.
Kershaw. No, I've got the axe. Maybe you've got a knife.
I've got a trekking pole. I'm dead.
Well, I mean, dude, I think with trekking pole, you can stab with
Yeah,
this.
Scott's dead. I'm wounded.
I
You
sometimes-
I've
were.
got the axe. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm good.
I have an ice axe from time
Dude,
to
an
time.
ice axe. I feel like an ice axe. could
Not
do- could
really
do
when you're in
damage.
bear country.
Yeah,
Ice axe
it's
is fun.
interesting to think about, like the actual
Tent steak.
The tent steak's a good one.
Hey, if
Steak's a good one.
you've got the MSR groundhog,
Yeah,
You're all
yeah,
winning.
for sure.
yeah.
You gotta think of like if that bear is like coming at you. Do you think? I mean, you gotta think about the hide
no,
and like the skin
forest axe ain't doing
considerations.
shit.
I think a forest axe are good, but a tent
No.
stake. I mean, it's a
No,
thick hide.
forest axe, you're not doing shit with that.
Dude, if I'm swinging this forest axe full bear, no, that's gonna land in the bear's like scapular.
No, but it's gonna
regions.
pull up its arm, and you're gonna hit it. in
No,
its
no,
paw.
dude. If I'm swinging that, if I get one good swing of the forest axe, that bear is taking some damage. Maybe only one swing, and then you guys got the trekking poles,
So-
and he's got a Swiss Army knife.
A classic. This big.
We're all dead.
It's like
No.
have you seen
We're gonna have to play dead at this point.
the Wes Anderson movie where he stabs him? It's like literally that. You know, that's what I'm
This
talking
is
about.
a hilarious thing to
So
discuss. by the
I
way.
hope there's no small children watching. But what do you do when you come across a grizzly?
No, that's it.
No.
You
no.
wipe them off and apologize.
I don't
Wait,
get
wait,
it.
wait.
I don't get it.
Just let that sink in.
What do you do?
It's a joke.
I know.
I don't get it though.
What do you do when you come across a grizzly?
You wipe them off and apologize. Scott, you're gonna have to explain.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm not going to explain that.
Okay.
Okay, all right, it's R-rated.
All right.
all right, I like it. I like it. I still think the three of us would be okay.
No.
2 of you would be mauled. I don't know.
I was a wrestler, so I
That's
could,
true.
I could
You're
probably,
pretty
you know,
strong.
I was
I'm
I
dead.
was an
I'm
all-state
dead.
wrestler. I can.
The thing about a grizzly is like one of those paw swipes.
Oh no, they
Someone's
fuck you
going
up.
down.
No,
Yeah,
I'm aware.
Someone's
Yeah.
going down. So we need to have someone eat the first paw swipe. That might be
me.
you.
That's me.
Definitely, yeah.
No, I'm playing dead because that's a proven tactic.
All right, Grizzly,
Well-
go after Andy. I'm with the small forest
it's that
axe.
top
Well,
going like
Scott's
this.
got the Swiss Army.
So here's the real question. I'm gonna tell you what the real question is here. Who's the slowest runner?
No, somebody did. So
great question.
B3 Outdoors says to survive a bear attack, you don't stab the bear, you stab your friend and run.
There you go. Yeah, I was just about to suggest that.
I
don't have to.
Swiss Army knife?
I don't have to run faster than the bear. I have to run faster than you.
Hey, we both run.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know.
I don't
You're
run.
dead.
I'm a sprinter though.
Yeah.
I'm a sprinter. I'm not a distance runner. So
You're dead.
Okay.
Well, you're gonna have to cut a calf. You're gonna have to cut one
This,
of our calves.
Attendant.
This,
never
this
recover.
podcast has taken a great turn. This is the kind of dynamics I wanted to discuss.
Hold on. Going back.
Actual mechanics of us.
Yes.
I'm going to the bathroom.
So going back to Meldrum,
Reload
you were pushing Meldrum to see if Bigfoot was aggressive or
Yeah,
not.
hold on. I have to go to the bathroom. But yes.
According to Meldrum,
Aggressive Sasquatch.
yeah, according to Meldrum, Bigfoot has yet to show evidence of being aggressive.
Okay.
So
He has yet to show evidence of existing too.
well, it depends on what kind of
I
site.
mean, I believe.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Yeah. So the question then becomes, in a Bigfoot situation, if they get aggressive, what are you doing?
I mean, making friends.
Right. I'm playing dead.
Yeah, probably playing dead.
I'm going with grizzly bear.
Yeah.
With grizzly bear tactics, I'm going to the ground. I'm going fetal position, and then hopefully it'll eat you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it would definitely eat you because I would win in the foot race, you know. But I think, with the Sasquatch encounter, like if you can't take the loving track, you know, that would be an amazing.
That would be ideal.
That's an ideal encounter, right? You definitely try to form that relationship.
Yeah, try to film a bond.
But if you can't, then you definitely evacuate the situation and then you play dead. You know, I think that's what you do.
Yeah, and the only evidence that's out there right now is that Sasquatch is more observing. So
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and I'm surprised by that because I would think that Sasquatch. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the question was, has Sasquatch shown any aggression?
Right, and the evidence so
What
far
would
is
you
no.
do?
Well, the Native Americans tend to differ.
They're
Have
those
you
like
heard this?
1800s exempt,
Sorry.
like the Sasquatch throwing rocks at the
No,
house.
do you
and
know?
then,
do you
no,
know-
hold on.
what about the encounter where like the guy was taken away to like the camp of Sasquatch?
What
Have you guys heard about that?
What about the Sasquatch that wanted to rape everybody?
Hold on. I'm familiar with the Sasquatch that just steals and eats the children. There's multiple Sasquatch going on.
Sasquinoidal
Wait,
Sasquatch,
what are
yeah.
you referring to? To the Sasquatch that's like steals people?
There was like an encounter in like 18 whatever where like they took the guy away and like carried him over miles and like set him down in a camp of Sasquatch that he eventually escaped from or something weird like that.
Okay, so are you familiar with the Native American lore of Sasquatch?
I'm a bit, yeah.
So so I posed this exact question to Dr. Meldrum. I was like, has there been any evidence? Because this, for instance, this story of the woman on the Colorado Trail, and she saw the two, and they just kind of like peered at her and just, like very hesitant. I was like, so, doctor, like, has there ever been any evidence of them being aggressive towards humans? And he's like, actually, in Native American lore, there's a lot of that. And there's like some sort of Native American tales of the Sasquatch like stealing children. Now, the basis of that being, we know in primate culture, specifically with chimps, and he talked about this, and which is true, when tribes of chimpanzees go through like feast and famine, they will eat the young.
For sure.
So he was saying there is evidence of Native Americans discussing this.
For sure. And I think that kind of, it gets into a weird area.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, it's certainly weird.
Okay.
It's a weird topic we're discussing.
This is, and when Andy gets back, I want to talk about us three going up against a Sasquatch.
A Sasquatch? I've heard of Sasquatch.
There's different dynamics from a bear attack.
Okay, so first and foremost, we need a response
beer.
from the community. Yes, I'm going to get you a beer.
Andy needs a beer.
And
Folks, this is going deep. It's we've been doing this for 2.5 hours. If you're still with us, really appreciate it. We're going deep tonight. All right.
How to kill a Sasquatch.
How to
kill us. All
right.
So I think there's a few points to discuss, and this chair is falling apart.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. So okay, true story. Some of these chairs do break. You can just take my computer chair.
It's
yeah, that joint right there. There we go.
We're good.
Hey, this is self-produced. All right,
We're good.
Oh, damn, this is good.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
Icelandic soccer.
That's really good.
Great beer. So I think that there's a few things going on here, right? So there have been many stories like taking young, for example, across multiple cultures. The idea of changelings.
Wait, what is this?
Changelings of like demon fairies taking children, replacing them, and like stuff like that.
There was a few stories in Meldrum's book about tribes in the Pacific Northwest and into Canada that describe like a scary large mother figure stealing children.
Yeah, of course. And I think those kind of stories exist across human experience.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right?
The boogeyman.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's
For
like
sure.
changelings,
The wild
boogeymen,
forest man.
Yeah.
all these kind of things, you know? And part of, I think, the mythology of a Sasquatch, the Sasquatch species, you know,
You could just call it Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
We'll bullet point it.
It's almost that innate human storytelling of the wild man of Avignon, you know, all of these things of that other that's just in the fringe of society, you know, and a lot of it can simply be attributed to that. And whether that is some sort of storytelling anthropology, like there was probably a time in history, like what you were describing, when there were a dozen hominid species coexisting.
You gotta read
We
Sapiens.
remember that.
Yeah.
We remember that collectively. And so these stories that pass on for centuries and millennium have those experiences embedded in those stories. And so the linguistics and the history, the storytelling, those incorporate that. Whether or not these creatures actually exist right now today doesn't matter. At some point in our evolutionary history, hundreds or thousands of years ago, they existed.
Yeah.
So whether we're remembering those things and passing those stories on, or whether they currently exist today, I have no idea.
But you're saying they steal babies.
Yes.
They did at one point.
Clearly. I think they stole my child and they replaced him with a terror. He's amazing. I love him, but you're terror.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, how do you argue against like folklore that's passed down from like generation to
Well,
generation?
you can't, and you just take it with a grain of salt. And you know, I mean, at the end of the day, doctor, I got to see, someone's got a camera phone. We all got camera phones. All right, like let's see some. I think if they are out there, we'll at least like see one. You know, I don't know. I'm hoping
In our lifetime, you know.
I don't know.
They're right there.
Yeah, they're at Endeavor Brewery and Spirits, by the way. If you want to go, you have them in the brewery as well.
We do.
You have them.
I think we have 22 Sasquatch
In the building?
In the building, yeah. In various places, nooks and corners, yeah.
And if you're in the Columbus area or traveling to the Columbus area, please go to Endeavor, and you can go see them. Yeah,
Say hi.
You can
see me
Scott.
around. I'll show you around. Yeah, and we should do a trail ale.
Yeah, so that's something we talked. Okay, so the genesis of all of this, and you can go watch it, was like almost 2 years ago.
Was that it? Wow.
2 years ago, we did a live Q&A down at Endeavor through Scott. You can see that. It's on YouTube. It was super fun. Great turnout, by the way. And in fact, we were literally getting ready to plan another one, and then COVID hit. And COVID put the kibosh on that. But that's how we got hooked up with Scott. and we did a really sweet Q&A there. It was super fun. That was kind of the genesis of all this. And then we discussed doing the Shill Brothers Pale Ale, but it was really trail ale.
Yeah.
Trail ale,
And we were going to
whatever,
go collect the pine.
Yeah, a spruce tip.
Spruce tip. It was like
Ohio
a
spruce
infused,
tip, yeah.
And I
We should
still
do
want to
that.
do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
So COVID kind of threw a wrench into all of this.
We did. Yeah.
So I would like to do that.
We could do
We could do a bourbon.
Oh my God.
Shill Brothers bourbon.
both. It's a longer timeline. So
I know.
beer we can
It's a
pull off
longer
in
timeline.
weeks. This we can pull off in years. So,
I like the years.
good stuff.
Dude, a piney sprucey
Spruce tip.
Spruce tip IPA would be awesome.
Well, imagine this beer, the beer that you guys are
It's
drinking,
very
the,
good.
It's very good.
Icelandic Saga. This is actually hop free. There's no aroma or flavor hops in
How are you getting the flavors in here?
So there's a complex malt.
Because there
bill.
are a lot of flavors in this beer.
Correct. And we have sage and star anise replacing the flavor and aroma hop profile.
What's
this.
a star anise?
It's the flavor in black licorice.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
But in Iceland, it's a lot more mild. And this
Yeah.
beer, it's not in your face. So if you don't like black licorice, it's fine.
Okay.
You're going to be okay with this beer, And the sage has that kind of warming herbal effect.
Yeah.
But then it finishes clean. There's no real aftertaste
very
that
clean.
lingers.
Very clean.
Yeah. And so we use a little bit of hops in the beginning to balance the beer, give it a little bitterness to the sweetness to balance it out. But there's no flavor or aroma hops in this.
Nice.
And so using spruce tips, for example, is a way that you can replace some of those hop additions, the late boil flavor aroma hops we could replace with
Spruce.
Ohio spruce tips, pine green, pines,
Shill Brothers Pale Ale.
Shill Brothers Trail Ale,
We should try to get
Ooh,
some,
Shill Brothers.
we should try to get some Bigfoot hair.
Yeah, let's put some
and
Bigfoot
just
hair
throw
in
some
there.
BFH in.
Meldrum talked about that was another good piece of evidence.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but I love. Okay,
I pressed it.
I know. I love how the answer. First of all, I like his evidence, but his answer to the DNA evidence is coming back human, but nobody's really gone deep into the DNA evidence.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
maybe.
Sasquatch copperwood.
I would
Lights in there.
first off, I would like to do another live thing at Endeavor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
We got to, I don't know, maybe this fall.
Sure.
I don't know.
Anytime.
I don't know. When do you think as a small business owner, as a brewery owner, when do you think life is going to get back to normal?
I mean, I think define normal. Is
I-
kind of the
Yeah,
first,
that's a good
the first
question.
let's say
question,
when do you
but,
think we would do this another live stream thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that late summer
You think?
is kind of a fair bet for most of
Yeah.
us having vaccines or at least loved ones at risk
Yeah.
having vaccines.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big point. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I had COVID with my wife and family. None of us are at risk.
Yeah.
We were fine. And I know there is a risk.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if you're no pre-existing,
Right,
there's
right.
certainly risk.
Right.
So we were lucky. But at the same time, if you would flash forward to the point where our loved ones that were at higher risk were vaccinated,
Yeah.
I'd be a
Right,
little more
really
comfortable
good,
going
right.
out. I can go have a beer with my buddy. That's worth a risk because I know if I get it, the likelihood is fine.
It's really interesting thinking about it because COVID is a threat to public health.
Yes.
It's real.
It's real.
Yeah, it's definitely real.
But at some point we have to continue living our lives,
For sure.
and going to the bar before this. And I went to, I went to a restaurant a month ago and it was so weird. And I'm like, at some point we have to resume society,
For sure.
Yeah.
you know,
Sure. And
regardless of what we got.
I think the normal of the way we were accustomed to it before is going to be a couple years out.
And
Because
honestly,
people aren't going to recover.
something that I love is I think regardless of COVID, if it's cold and flu season, you got the cold or flu,
You put on a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a fucking mask.
Like, I love that. Like, I think that's great.
Yeah.
And I think we've destigmatized wearing a mask.
Yeah.
100%. And that's the thing that like traveling and
Yeah.
being around the world so much that a lot of Americans would make fun of the Asian person
They've
in the
been doing
airport.
this. They know
and they make
this.
fun of them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, that person is wearing it not because they're afraid of you. It's because they have a cold.
Right. Yeah.
They are considering your health.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it
So
is.
don't deride them. Don't make fun of them.
Yeah.
Embrace that. And
I think
we
it's
should
great.
all be doing that.
I agree. I
So
think it-
if you have a cold, if you're sick, put on a mask.
Yeah. I straight up think, I'll get flamed for that. I think the government should mandate that. Like, if you have the flu, you have to go outside,
Put on a mask.
but like, put on a mask.
If you have a cold, if you have
Yeah.
anything,
Getting the flu is super annoying.
Yeah. It's
put on
awful.
a mask. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like all the service, curbside services, how amazing is it
Yeah.
that I can like just type in an order at target.com.
I know, that's been good.
And then like pull up and 1 minute later, some dude
there.
walks out to the
Yeah.
back of my car. I show him a number
Yeah.
through the window. Done.
Yeah.
Like that needs to exist.
Same with the grocery
Yeah.
pickup
But I think the counter argument to that is
and working from home.
I think sure, all that's great. The counter argument though is like all these like delivery services are nickeling and diming retailers.
Yeah.
You gotta find the
Yeah.
balance
What else?
there.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it's about direct, and that's the same thing with what we're experiencing. Like if you go to DoorDash and all these Grubhub and those kind of things, and Columbus has actually limited the ability for them to take huge
Really?
cuts. There was a legislation
that.
passed where they limited it to like 18% or something like that. Before they were taking 30,
Really?
Yeah,
like
it's insane.
ridiculous.
Oh, that's
Which
insane.
restaurants were actually losing their entire margin on that
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
Crazy. So the difference of like a Target curbside is that's direct to
Right,
Target
right.
from
Yeah.
the Target app,
Right,
from
right.
that, from Giant Eagle, from whatever you're
Yeah.
going through. If you're going through a third party service, that gets really weird really fast, and maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
It's just free market
It's
stuff. I don't know.
I think you're right in saying like even best case scenario, like we're all vaccinated, like we're not going back to real life anytime soon.
It's going to be years before. I think things have changed permanently.
Yeah.
Some
You
things have
think?
changed permanently, and that's a good thing, you know. But certain aspects by this summer will be normal-ish.
Yeah.
What do you think is a
Here's-
permanent change? Like curbside delivery, you think that's here to stay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that stuff is here for, and that's for the better. Like
Yeah.
that benefits all of us.
Yeah. I think food delivery, it was already big. I think that is huge now. I don't think that's going away. I think the grocery pickup,
Yeah.
which I'm going to continue doing because
course.
it's way better than going to
So
the
much
grocery
more
store.
convenient.
So there have been some just obviously like the ability for companies to have people work from home, which impacts Andy and I a lot,
Of course.
has been fantastic. And I think outside of the consumer sector, I think you're going to see this massive work from home trend.
I totally agree. Which is interesting that it has, and I think will continue to affect commercial real estate.
Yo, dude,
Yeah.
that could be huge.
It's huge. And so office space is suddenly, it was at a premium in a place like Columbus.
Yeah.
And there's all these places that have been
Yeah.
being built, and there's all this kind of office space because companies are realizing
We
you
don't
can
have
work
to
from
do it.
home.
Yeah.
It's like if you're tech based, if you're all of that, it's like you don't have to be in an office. You don't have to be in
Yeah.
a cubicle. I think a lot of that stuff just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
I do think it's life as we know it. I mean, it's still, I mean, dude, we've been doing this for almost a year now.
Yeah.
We're just now almost
a
a
year.
year.
I mean, really, lockdown.
we started testing.
Lockdown officially started
March.
March 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're February 12th.
No,
So
I
11
remember
months in.
I remember a year ago we were talking about this. We were testing. We were building
Yeah.
technology.
My daughter was born on Leap Day, March 29th.
Right.
And we had 2 weeks roughly
Right
before
before.
lockdown we were quarantined anyway because we had a newborn baby,
yeah.
you know, and we had 2 weeks extra. But then at the time, like at the end of March, we're like, oh, we had 2 weeks extra quarantine. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no one gives a shit.
Dude.
It's like, you know, it's a year after.
That's nothing. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
It is. It's like a movie. I always say that on all these podcasts that we do. It's like, it's crazy. I don't know. It's insane. Whatever. Hey, we're slowly getting back there. I'm with you. Hopefully this summer. I don't know. Hopefully we'll be back.
Yeah, and that's just it. You know, it's kind of like when we get the vaccines rolling.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have positive signs on new vaccines ordered and getting out there. And, and it's more about when the at-risk people and the loved ones and all that stuff, the people that are at risk, when they are vaccinated, when they are safe, at least the people that I want to know that care about other people, you know, that's when they're going to start going out more, you know?
Dude, what a crazy virus.
I know.
I mean, it attacks people so differently.
Yeah.
It's like, couldn't they just made it easy and just give us something super lethal and then everyone just stays inside, you know? It's like, it's this whole thing where like it affects people so differently.
And the crazy thing is just mutating away.
Yeah, that's normal though.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to happen.
And we'll see how effective that vaccine is versus future strains.
I mean, so far it's effective. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the scientists that did that because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, shout out to the
Shout out to the biomedical scientists did that mRNA vaccine. Pretty cool. All right.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
It's been almost 3 hours, man.
We've talked about
longest podcast we've done in a long time.
We've talked about Endeavor. We've talked about Bigfoot. We've talked about killing bears.
K2, Mount Everest, firearms,
through hikes.
We have covered it all. If you are in Columbus,
God damn it,
or if you're not in Columbus,
go to Endeavor Brewery.
Go check out
and distillery.
Endeavor. They have fantastic beer. They have a good mission. They're an outdoors centric brewery,
and it's safe. It's
and the beer
inside.
is really good.
Yeah.
So please, we'll put a link down in the description to the brewery. It's in Grandview.
Yeah, and support and wherever you are, support your local businesses that are hurting right now.
Absolutely, it's the local breweries, local distilleries.
Everybody
local
loves
restaurants.
beer and booze.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Scott, thank you so much for coming.
Scott, this was
amazing.
amazing.
This was pretty fun.
Fantastic. Also.
And bringing all this booze.
Yeah.
This
We'll do it again soon.
You blew my mind on the whiskey stuff.
Yeah, the whiskey was super good.
Yeah. I'll bring
this
around
summer
the Cherrywood gin and
Cherrywood
the
gin.
Brazilian and French oak rum soon,
it.
and we'll talk about that.
All right,
excellent.
Everybody, thank you all for watching. Thanks for spending your Friday night with us.
Yeah.
Rate us on the iTunes store.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to the Backcountry BSing
subscribe to the Backcountry BSing channel. I'll put the link down in the description. Check out Endeavor. Scott, I love it. Good times.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.